Thank you so much for being here with us tonight at Echo Base TV, where community happens. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight at Echo Base TV, where community happens.
Well, yes, I played the old intro because I can do that. Great to see you all here this evening. Welcome to EBN Live this Saturday night. So obviously I'm not Coach or Nick, but I am here and we have a great agenda for you all. And I also have a co-host. You know him, you love him. He's here with us. Coach and Nick are both tied up this evening, but they say hello, and really looking forward to spending this time with you this evening. We have all kinds of topics to talk about, a little bit of Star Wars, of course, other pop culture stuff. So let me get us started in the way that we normally do. So let's talk about those 4 ways to support the channel. Here we go. You know them. For anyone who's here your first time, click that like button, subscribe, share, do all the YouTube things. But if you want to go the extra mile, here we go. Memberships are available. We saw the shout out and the great pre-show that Coach puts together for us. Check it out. You know where the join button is if you feel so inclined. Really appreciate. Patreon's another option. All kinds of great content, watch-alongs, different things get posted there that Coach and Nick are watching and just reacting to and curating for us. Check that out. Link is available. Also, the merch store, all the designs that Coach puts together, all kinds of shirts and different things out there now from all of the franchises that we know and love. And then I'll do the best I can to highlight chats this evening. Super chats are also available. Very much appreciated. Never required, but you know what to do. If you want to, feel free to use those super chats as well. All right. So before I do clear some of those super chats, let me bring in tonight's co-host. Keeps coming back. God bless him. Love to have him coming back. He's here again this evening. I found his intro. I'll play that and we'll bring him right in. Be with you all in a second.
What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. And real quick, before we get started.
All right, there he is. How are you this evening? Good to see you,
going?
Derek.
How you doing, Richmond?
I am wonderful, 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 and I hope you are as well.
Fantastic, man. Thanks for having me back, man. Love coming to EBN. What's up, everybody out in the EBN network? Shout out to all of you guys out there. Thanks for the support. Thanks for helping build my channel. Love each and every last one of y'all. Man, this is awesome stuff, man. I'm so glad to be here. It's just me and you, huh?
It's just the two of us, but you know,
all right, we're gonna make it work. I love it.
We're gonna do it. We are gonna do it for sure. So before we
That's
get into
Gojo. Some people are asking what's on my shirt tonight. That's Gojo. If you were asking for me, what's on your shirt?
I've got all kinds of G1 Transformers running around on my shirt.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yes, absolutely. So let me clear some of the business we have from the folks that have been supporting the channel. And my goodness, and I know you've seen it, and I just saw it last night. Our first topic is the Marvels, so strap in.
Let's go! Oh, I can't wait to talk about this.
It's gonna be one of those streams. So firstly, Scott Westbrook is here. Always great to see you here, Scott, and all of our moderators. Welcome. Scott does a great job for the channel. Sent in a super sticker, and I saw, maybe it was foreshadowing, but it was a good job. He gave us a thumbs up. Good job. We hadn't even get started yet, but he says it's going to be a good job. So really appreciate that so much, Scott. Thanks for that super sticker. Venger is here. We have a lot of folks, 33 months. My goodness, where does the time go? Venger here, 33 months member. Comment. So, as the SAG after strike is over, has the damage been done to future movies and TV shows? Budget limitations, production values, inflated salaries for actors, etc. So yes, the strike, after 118 days and coming down to the wire, the actor strike did end a few days ago. It's an interesting question. What are your thoughts, Derek, in regards to, let's put the schedule stuff aside. We'll talk about the delays and just bring up some of the what's coming when, and because everything's getting delayed again almost immediately after the strike ended. But what do you think? What do you think the long-term impact looks like as a result?
Well, yeah, absolutely. There's going to be some major damage done to Hollywood. I'm in the the LA area. That's where I live in Southern California. So I hear, and I have some friends in the industry, and I see the damage that's already been done. There's nervous talk going on, all right, behind the scenes from a lot of these guys that probably feel like they're not going to have jobs on the other end of these strikes once the dust settles. There's going to be some work immediately because they're going to try to rush through the productions of things that they have delayed. So there's going to be some work there, but Hollywood's going to be a completely different place. They're going to stop making as much content because we're coming outside of the streaming boom where, during the pandemic, everybody was trying to get something out there, either on Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon Prime, you name it. They were trying to push a lot of content out. Well, that's over. And now the actors are paying more or asking for more money. The writers are asking for more money. On top of that, people aren't going to the box office as much or the movie theaters as much. So the box office has diminished. So yeah, you're going to see a big change in how much content is being produced. I think that's going to scale way back. They're going to, Bob Iger's already talked about, we're going to push quality over quantity. We're not going to be pushing as much content out there because frankly, nobody's watching it. So you're going to see major scale backs on the production. Now, I do think we'll probably get better, hopefully, crossing my fingers, better content overall. Maybe not from some of our favorite franchises, but maybe from other places. But yeah, there's definitely going to be some major damage that's been done. And then Hollywood itself, they're talking about a lot of productions moving overseas to get away from all
Yeah.
of these unions. You know, the unions have kind of came in and, made a mess of things. So yeah, they're going to get away from a lot of the Hollywood gunk that goes on, and they're going to take stuff overseas. So yeah, I expect to see some major changes within the next 3 to 5 years. When we get back 3 years later after this, because they run those contracts every 3 years,
Yes.
they're probably going to have to renegotiate again, because of the way things might be shaping up at that time.
Yeah, it's an interesting one for me as well. I think the strike, a lot of folks said at the beginning of the strike that it could likely go almost until Christmas.
Yeah.
And so from that perspective, I think then it ended early, which again, it wasn't 118 days. It's still a long time. And I think, the actors were obviously generally, satisfied with the deal that they got. But yeah, on your point, and on the point of Vender's comment, I'll be very curious to see if the scale down production, because I even saw something from Netflix came out talking about their movies are going to go down from 40, I think they do traditionally have done like 40 movies or something, and now I think they're going down to 25, or I don't know. It was a pretty dramatic decrease, I think, but not all the Netflix stuff hits. Although I did watch the Killer movie that came out here just this week. Michael Fassbender, Michael's in it, and it's done by David Fincher. David Fincher directed this movie. I thought it was good. Thought they did a good job with it, but not every one of their movies hits, and so
I
think this was coming anyway, and now we'll see what happens. But to me, Disney Plus is the lagger in this contest, as much as it is a contest, because I feel like their original content has the most opportunity for improvement of the original content that I've personally consumed at some of the other streamers. So
absolutely
I'm curious to see what happens here.
I am too. I'm real curious to see what happens going forward.
Yeah. All right. Venger, thanks for that. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you so much. Rogue Sarge, Bobby's always here. Hello, everyone in Echo Base Network. Thank you, Bobby,
What's up, Rogue?
for all of your undying support with a big $20 super chat. Really, really appreciate you. Thanks for being here as always. Another one of our original 34 months. We have a lot of us are in the third. We have more in the 30s. A lot of original members are here tonight. Great. So great to see you all. Ted's Nerd World. EBN Saturday night. Bring on those pizza rolls. Well, not tonight. Maybe I'll play it later. It's the place. EBN's the place to be. That's what the clip is called. With Nick and his pizza rolls. Appreciate you, Ted. Great to see you this evening. Here's Felix, member for 31 months. Doing all those great moderating things, as is Ted tonight in the chat. 31 months and counting with EBN. Ready for another Saturday EBN live stream? We are, you are, EBN. Star Wars Forever. Happy Veterans Day. Freedom is not free. Land of the free. Home of the brave. USA. And I was remiss. I should have led with this. So thank you, Felix, for that reminder. Happy Veterans Day for anyone who's there in the chat who has served. Thank you so much for your service. Really appreciate you all and everything you've given to the country. And so thanks so much for that, Felix. Appreciate it. All right. I had a request. There's so many things to click here. Hold on a second. I'll put it on. Here we go. How about that? All right. Put a little, somebody said, put the overlay on. I was like, okay, we can put that on. Thank you, Felix. Good to see you this evening. Mama Bear is here, member for 32 months. Hey, Debbie, hope you are well. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another great Saturday night with this great community. No place better to be on a Saturday night, right? Always great to be here with the community and the family. Thanks, Debbie, so much for being here and for writing in. Keely Chow is here as well. Remember, for 9 months. It's a big thing with them. Disney Star Wars sucks more than Auburn. Roll Tide. Well, listen, neither Coach nor Nick are here to dispute you on. Usually, there's some War Eagle and some other things that are said at this point. But Keely Chow, great to see you here. Thanks for being with us this evening. And then Rebel Scum Network is also here, sending in a $5 super chat. Hail EBN family. Hope everyone had a good week. We are, you are. And Rebel Scum, thank you so much. Hope your week was a great one as well. So thank you for supporting the channel. So for everyone that just sent in the super chats, the member chats, really appreciate it so much. Let me play this one here, and thank you again for all the support. All right, perfect. Well, it's time to talk about the Marvels.
Let's do it, man. I've been waiting on this one.
I watched your video. I know you have some. I know you have.
I got a lot of thoughts.
I know you have some.
I'm looking forward.
I know you have some thoughts. So let me go ahead and get this shared up. And like I said, I went to see the movie last night myself. I have to tell you, I like to go to my local AMC, and I saw it on their Dolby Theater. The theater, it was a 7:45 showing, but there was more people in the theater than I expected. And I have to tell you honestly, the audience's reaction to the movie was generally favorable. However, I'm not, so this article is talking about the fact that, they're setting a record here. I think one of the records they set was for one of the shorter Marvel movies already. It's an hour and 45 minutes. This one, unfortunately, is saying, I think now they have secured the lowest opening, or the 48 million, worse than the Incredible Hulk. Did you think?
Worse than
of course, I'm a big Hulk fan, but okay. Did you think it could get worse?
15 years ago. From 15 years ago, it hasn't been this bad for the Marvel Cinematic Universe in 15 years. That's how bad things are getting right now for this business, for this company. Absolutely incredible. But look, we've been talking about, at least I've been talking about, what is or who is the audience for this film. So you said that you saw it with a group of people, and everybody seemed to be enjoying themselves, having a good time. All right, that's good. But leading into this, what was the audience? Who did Marvel make this for? Did they make this for me? Did they make this for you? Who did they make this film for? Because when you got to sit back and remember, folks, when you are making and you're spending $200 million or $250+ million, you want to make sure that you're making that for a specific audience. You need to know that you're going to get a return on your investment. How do you know you're going to get a return on your investment? Oh, I know we're going to get X amount on the box office opening weekend. Come on. You should know automatically who's coming, who's not coming. And I don't think Marvel had any idea who this film was going to be marketed to, who they hoped would show up to the theaters to watch this. And they wrote it as such. And it starts anytime you put ideology ahead of the entertainment. We've been talking about that. Putting ideology ahead of the entertainment will always lead to this, where nobody knows what's going on anymore. We don't know if this is for 45-year-old men, 20-year-old girls. We don't know if this is for comic fans. Is it for feminists? Like, who is coming to see this film? Nobody knows. And for that reason, nobody came and watched, or at least only $47 million worth of tickets were sold for this opening weekend. That tells you everything you need to know. This company has lost the plot. They have no idea who their fan base is anymore. They don't know who they're making content for anymore. They're just making content, hoping that the Marvel label will sell it to the masses, like it did with, Infinity War and Endgame. But see, those films had an audience that had been following along for the last 3 phases. And everybody was together. We knew what the story was. We knew what we were expecting to see. They had their built-in audience. Ever since Phase 4 started, they don't have a clue who they're trying to sell this content to. And that's the problem right now with Marvel.
And for me, so I went to the movie very specifically to see how were they going to treat the character of Nick Fury, right?
Okay.
After the Nick Fury that we saw in Secret Invasion,
Right.
right, where ostensibly at the end of that series, it seemed like he was going back to Saber, right? It seemed like he
Hmm.
was going back to be the Nick Fury that we saw in this particular movie. I have to tell you, looked like they completely forgot about Secret Invasion to me. This was
I don't.
not the same Nick. This was not the same. I don't
Yeah.
know which Nick Fury this was, but it was certainly not the Nick Fury that we saw in Secret Invasion, firstly. And then secondly, I felt like I was watching a really long episode of the Miss Marvel television show. The movie felt like a and I liked Miss Marvel because of her family. I found her family to be very funny. They were in the movie.
Yeah.
Again, they were very funny in the movie. I laughed a lot in the movie, but on your point, I'm not sure what this movie was trying to be. I was entertained, but nothing really remarkable happened. It was just an hour and 45 minutes of silliness.
Right.
Right? It was
Yeah.
really wacky. Not to mention the musical numbers showed up and cats are eating people and all these things
Oh
are
my God,
happening.
that was so terrible, man. Look, I was that cringed me out, man. I was cringed out at that musical number. I thought that was the worst thing I've ever seen Marvel attempt, and they've attempted a lot of bad things, and that was probably the worst thing I've ever watched. To your point, Miss Marvel and her family, yeah, they were the most enjoyable part of the movie, at least as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, if that movie had more of them in it, maybe it would have been more entertaining. I don't know, but you can't try to sell this film to people that watched Miss Marvel. Not enough people watched it to even care about it. So why even, you know, you know, feature that family as much as they did? And on top of that, and to your point with Nick Fury, look, Nick Fury didn't even need to be in this film. There was no reason to have Nick Fury in this thing at all. He was there for star power. Oh, we got Samuel L. Jackson in it. That kind of connects him somehow to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So this thing is connected. We got Captain Marvel. We got Nick Fury. We got these other two characters that nobody cares about. And I just thought it was just a terribly written film. And again, a film should hit you, somewhere. It should feel like, okay, this film, if you're sitting in the audience, you should feel like this film is important. It resonates with me emotionally. It gets me excited. It's action. It's something. This film gave me nothing. You could sit there and watch it. It's not the worst thing in the world that I've ever watched in my entire life. But as far as a film, as far as a great movie is concerned, it's terrible. It's I have so many words I want to say that I shouldn't say.
No. We can't have any no.
It's just garbage. It's just garbage. It's hot garbage. And I can't believe that Marvel spent $270 million on this thing. And didn't have an idea of who was actually going to come and watch this. That's just $270 million up in smoke. And that's the reason why they had to do so many reshoots. You could see it like, okay, they're telling this story and this narrative is just going nowhere. So they probably, okay, man, we got to stop, everybody stop, come in. Let's figure out where we're going with this thing. Let's try to, course correct right now. Let's add a couple of scenes that kind of connect this part of the film that works to this other piece that we think that works. Let's try to write an in-between film. All right, we got that. Let's shoot that. And then let's see what we got after that. And it's just a bunch of that. It's like piecemeal filmmaking where they're making a piece here, and they're trying to connect the dots. None of it connects. None of it works. And, oh, okay, this isn't working. Here, let's throw another scene with, the Kamala Khan's family in it for some, laughs. And then we'll just throw that in there. And all right, that didn't work. All right, let's have this cat. I guarantee you all of the scenes that we thought were interesting, those were the reshoots. I'm almost convinced that flirt kitten, all of that stuff, I think that was just something they threw in at the last minute. I don't think it because it doesn't make sense where it comes at in the movie. It just doesn't make any sense why it's there.
Well, it's so a couple
it comes
things.
Out of nowhere, and it's like, why is this here? What is the plot point for this? Because did you see? Let me just set this up. So for those who haven't seen it, they start finding these little pods, right? Like all over the space station that Nick Fury is on. And it's like, it just feels so inserted. Like, Why is this all of a sudden the thing that they're discussing? Go ahead,
Well,
man.
so a couple of things, right? So hold that thought, right? Mars
Okay,
Meets
okay.
Max talking about Samuel L. In Secret Invasion, he did seem super old, right? But when you see him in
Yeah.
the Marvels, he's kind of spry again, right? You don't get, I didn't get that old man fury feeling
Yeah.
from the movie, number one. Number two, on the point of the Flurkins, right? And I said cats earlier, and someone Green Lantern was like, cats? No,
Right.
okay, the Flurkins, right? And the fact that Goose, the Goose, Goose, the cat Goose, or the Flurkin Goose, the orange one, that orange tabby, all of a sudden had a litter of other Flurkins, and they used them to evacuate
Right.
the space station. The whole purpose of the space station is to protect the Earth from people attacking via space. Why are they evacuating? And then they're using the cats. They're eating people and putting them in a pocket dimension, and they're loading the cat. Now you got Nick Fury and her family in a capsule with cats. I mean, again, it was comical. But I'm like, doesn't this kind of defeat the whole purpose of why he's there in the Saber in the first place? I just don't get it.
It makes no sense. And then even when they escaped, a friend of mine, I'm gonna put a video up later about it. A friend of mine pointed out that when the ship like crashes to the Earth after the Flirt kittens are all there and everybody's there, and the ship crashes to the Earth. It's like everybody's like rattling around in this spaceship, like nobody had a seatbelt on or strapped in or anything. I said, wait a minute, this thing crashed to the planet. Everybody on that thing should have walked. It should have been goo. They all should have been dead. Every last one of them should have been dead. This thing crashes from space down to Earth and hits not a body of water or anything, hits the Earth.
Yes.
It should have exploded into nothing. I said, that's man. Yeah, that's the kind of writing that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is just giving us at this point. It's just terrible. It's just
Ted
terrible.
said he had a girl give him a Flurkin when he was. That's a whole different story for a different.
We don't want to go there, Ted.
For a different stream.
But speaking of teenagers and teenage girls, that's who they said this film was made for.
Okay.
Or not they, but there was Movie Bob Chipman had made this remark in his review, saying that teen girls have always been fans of comic book content, and the numbers show, the demographics, demographics show who went to watch this film, and I made a point of that in my video today. 65% of the audience for the Marvels were men. It was men.
Interesting.
And that tells you everything you need to know when it comes to comic book content. Okay. Yeah. The men are the ones that are going to want to go and watch, superhero related content. So make it for them, make the content for them. I'm not saying that you can't involve women and other different types of people. I'm not saying that, but you have to know who your audience is before you drop $250 to $270 million and just basically watch it all go up in smoke. I mean, if I'm a businessman, that's how I'm looking at it. I don't want to just drop $250, $270 million on a film that nobody is coming to watch. And I mean, just the worst box office in the history of the MCU. And they just have to be just stunned at this point. Because clearly they didn't expect this.
I thought the production value was fine, right?
Fine.
I don't, I didn't have any problem with the production value. And I saw Ronnie and other people razzing me in the chat.
Yeah.
I had fun watching the movie, right? I liked it for what it was, but it didn't feel, and somebody else has said in the chat, there really weren't any stakes in the movie, and you weren't, for me anyway, I wasn't really sure what the point was. You know what I mean? And so
the point was
other than to get to the mid-credit scene, and do the things that it seems like they want to do next. I get that. And of course they left it open for, Captain Marvel to return and for Miss Marvel to return. Sure. And again, Monica is in a particular place now, and obviously based upon that, her story will continue. So I didn't think it was a bad team up movie. Again, I had fun watching it, but again, to me, it wasn't one of their better. It wasn't one of their better movies, and I feel like if folks were fans of the Miss Marvel television show, they're really going to like the Marvels movie.
Yeah,
And I
and then
think,
those
but I don't think
everybody
a lot
else.
of
I mean, that was the most least watched MCU show on Disney Plus, I believe. So yeah, everybody else, you're not getting anything out of this because you're not going to know anything about the character of Miss Marvel. You probably know little to nothing about Monica Rambeau. If you watched Brie Larson's original Captain Marvel, does anybody care about this character? Does anybody care about this character? Probably not. So yeah, you made a movie, and again, the point of the movie. But they giving you the blues, Risman.
always, man. Always. Me and my poop takes. Me
Yeah,
and
they
my
giving it
poop
to you.
takes. Always. Always.
But hey, listen, the point of this was girl bosses. Okay, that's what the point of the film was. Girl boss. We got to show these women. We're going to give them the exact same amount of money that we would give a big male-centric film. That's the way I see it. And that's the reason why they spent the amount of money they spent. But I mean, they made a lackluster film that didn't invite anybody, to that isn't a Marvel fan already to join in and enjoy this, this franchise. Anybody that isn't already locked in with Marvel wouldn't have watched this. There's nothing in this. There's nothing in the trailers. There's nothing in any of the lead ups that made me, oh, okay, yeah, this is going to invite more people in. Nobody cares about this series any longer. And this is the reason why, because you keep giving us stuff like this, And I mean, Red Risman, you need to go and watch this about 50 more times. You need to bring all your friends and your family there with you because you're the guy that they made the film for. You enjoyed it, which is fine. I have no problem with you enjoying it. People love what you love. Love whatever it is that you love. I have no problem with that. I'm just going to speak my mind and give you my opinions on it.
Oh, no,
And
totally.
I just think ultimately at the end of the day, Marvel's not growing their fandom. They're shrinking their fandom by making content like this. And if they don't knock it off, by the time they do get around to the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, there won't be anybody left. There will be very few actual comic book fans left. People are just going to start moving on and getting into other stuff. And that's just what it is.
And the thing that surprised me a little bit is there were quite a few families there. It looked like people had made a family outing of it. And again, I think that speaks to, I think it speaks to Miss Marvel and just that familial aspect of what gelled so well for them in that series. So, all right, well, keeping on the Marvel train, I have an interesting article that Variety put out there. And again, this is an opinion piece, so take it for what it's worth. But I just thought it was interesting. They put together what they feel like are Marvel's 40 best characters in film and television. And I just thought it was interesting in what they did and how they put it together. So we'll run through them just because, again, I think it's interesting. But I don't know if you've seen this article, but before I do run through it, who do you think their number one? We'll see if it's true. Who do we think their number one? Who is it?
Stark, right? Oh, yeah. That's my opinion. I think it's got to be Tony Stark.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see if your thought. We'll see if your thought rings true. And again, this is in film and television.
Okay.
So rounding out the bottom, Venom made it. Okay. I guess I could see that. I know there's some Venom fans out there. There's another Venom movie coming at some point. But number 40, Eddie Brock, Venom, number 40. Okay. All right. I don't know. She-Hulk somehow beat Venom in their estimation. Number 39, Jennifer Walters.
Number one worst character, man. Terrible.
Oh, that series. Oh my gosh.
Man, that was a terrible show, man.
Yeah. So my guess, what's the question? So again, this is Venom. I have a lot of fun watching the Venom movies. No problem with Venom.
Venom's cool. Venom's cool. I like the movie.
So this the premise of this is the 40 best Marvel characters in film and television based upon this Variety article writer, based upon their personal, they took a poll, right? Again, it's
right.
This is an opinion piece. All right, 39, Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk. All right, moving on. Wong, number 38. Wong's fun. I I like Wong. You're not a Wong fan?
I mean, I don't think they do enough with his character. I think he's a good character in the first Doctor Strange. After that, I'm not really a fan of his.
Mm,
In Doctor Strange 2 and She-Hulk, they used him for kind of comic relief.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like his character at all. But it's okay. He's all
Yeah.
right.
Well, at least he's better. At least they got him ahead of She-Hulk, right? So it could be
Right, yeah. No, the She-Hulk
be-
shouldn't be on the list at all.
yeah, yeah. All right. So he's number 38. Number 37, Hawkeye. Hawkeye on it.
Interesting.
Number 37.
I would have had him up higher.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would have had him up higher. But okay.
Yeah,
I
I
guess
was
I got to see what this person's rest of his list looks like, because the fact that he already put She-Hulk in at 39 tells me that your list is kind of suspect already. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Wong. He's just not he's okay. He's probably right where he belongs in terms of the overall look of the.
well,
Marvel
he's saying what's Wong with Wong, right? I think he was
What's
making
wrong with Wong?
he's making a little bit of I think he's
Gotcha,
making a funny
gotcha.
there. All right. Number 36, Mystique. Mystique is on it. Number 36.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, okay,
Character.
fine.
Yeah.
Sure. Okoye, 35. 35.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not moved by this list yet. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okoye is a good character, but top 40?
Listen,
I don't know.
I'm personally just ecstatic that Phil Coulson made the list, right? I'm an unabashed Agents of Shield fan. Phil
I love
Coulson, one
Phil
of my
Coulson as a
all-time
character.
favorite. I wish they would bring Clark Gregg back as Phil Coulson somehow.
Yes.
He just
You know what?
embodies that character.
And here's the thing about Phil Coulson as a character is that he was created strictly in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This isn't a comic book character. This isn't somebody that came over from the comics. This was someone whose very first appearance was in Iron Man 2008. That was his first appearance. He is a brand new created character, created by Marvel and put into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And what's cool is that Clark Gregg got the opportunity to participate in the creation of the character, say, okay, what are his mannerisms? Like, what kind of a character is he? How would he, display this type of emotion, that, this, and the third? Okay. So Phil Coulson, he's one of my favorite characters in the MCU, and he's also a brand new created character. Now, why do I mention that? I mention that because I will talk a lot about race swapping characters versus just creating an original character. Hey, give us original characters instead of race swapping characters. And this proves that they can do it. They can easily just say, hey, let's create a character. Let's make him Phil Coulson. And then all of a sudden, this character becomes beloved because you put in the time and the effort and the creativity, and you even allowed the actor to step in and actually participate in the creative process. And look what you get. You get a beloved character who cracks the top 40 of this person's list. That's all I'm asking for. Stop race swapping characters. You want to bring in, they talk about bringing in Giancarlo Esposito. And they said, hey, we're going to make him Professor X. Like, no need. If you want to create a character for Giancarlo Esposito, create a brand new character for him. Just like you did for Clark Gregg. You gave Clark Gregg that level of respect. Give that to Giancarlo Esposito. And let him just step into the shoes of a new character that he gets to participate in creating, the whole 9 yards. So to me, that's where the Marvel Cinematic Universe can take things to the next level. Hey, do more stuff like this. I want the MCU to do more than just doing a bunch of race swaps when they want to talk about diversity. Well, let's just swap somebody in. Diversity, hooray, we did it. And like, no. Again, perfect example. And I love the character. Sorry to go off on the side.
No, you can gush on
and I just wish they would do more of this.
You can gush on Phil Coulson as long as you want, as far as I'm concerned. Like I say, he ranks up there, for me, as just because we were so invested in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at the time that it was running. At least I was.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
just pioneering superhero television. And it ran for so long, and he and Ming-Na. So someone was given props to Ming-Na, right? Agent May, between he and Agent May in that show, right? The supporting cast was wonderful, but they were that show, and you could tell they all had such a great time doing it. So again, great to see old Phil here. Number my privacy rights. Number 34, There you go. All right, 33, Sam Wilson.
Speaking of which, race swapping characters. Oh, we got to add a black Captain America. Look, he's great as Falcon. I don't see the purpose of putting him as, but that was done in the comics as well. So, but yeah, I think that Sam Wilson is a good character. He was great in Winter Soldier, and pretty much after that, he was great. Anthony Mackie is a great actor, so yeah, I love the character. I love the way he portrays him. I wish they would have just let him stay Falcon instead of trying to push him into Captain America's role. Like Captain America is Steve Rogers. Let that be that, But nevertheless, in terms of the list is concerned, yeah, I think he's good. He belongs in that top 40.
Yeah, sure. Totally agree with you on that one. All right. So we've got Garfield's Spider-Man here. I do think we're going to see all the iterations of the Spider-Man.
Yeah, I figured.
So, but again, you should have. I'm trying not to scroll for the next one. You should have the Spider-Man here. Again, I know for a lot of folks, Andrew Garfield may be their least favorite Spider-Man. I have to tell you, he was a bright spot in the Spider-Man team-up movie. I really thought that he killed it as Spider-Man.
His was the most emotional moment, man, when he gets to save MJ.
Yes,
in that scene, and then it just kind of harkens back to when he couldn't save Gwen. Yeah, that was an emotional moment. Yeah, I loved his character. I wish they would just continue and go on and
me too.
His story, not necessarily Tobey Maguire. I would love to see the next Spider-Man for Andrew Garfield. I think that would be nice.
Yeah, and he's been in so many. I mean, he's just a great actor all around. But you could tell that he really enjoyed coming back to be Spider-Man. And again, he was, to me, the movie was great. I love the movie, but his part, especially for me, was really really good. So all right, he's here at number 32. All right, Yelena Belova is here. Number 30, somehow beating out Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man. Yelena Belova is here. I
like the actress.
Yes, Florence Pugh.
I like Florence Pugh. I think Florence Pugh is a great actress, but I don't know about this character. I'm not a fan of this character at all. She's all right. Yeah, her turn in Hawkeye was, better than Black Widow. Agreed. I thought she was better in Hawkeye than Black Widow. I did not like her in Black Widow at all. But I like the actress. I think the actress is great. Even the little time she had in Oppenheimer, she was, pretty solid. But
well, there was at least two reasons why she was good in Oppenheimer, but we won't go. we won't get
at least
down.
Two, right?
Yeah, we won't get drugged down into that.
I see you, Risman.
but I
yes, sir.
I agree with you on Hawkeye. I thought Hawkeye was a fun watch. Again, is it a rewatch? Was it a memorable series? Not really. But I do agree. I liked Yelena's character in Hawkeye more than Black Widow. I just think the chemistry and some of the other things they did there was really really well done.
Exactly.
So yeah, she's here at 31. Okay, number 30. They put Doctor Strange. He's way down the list. They're putting Doctor Strange at number 30.
One point they thought that they were going to build, like, this was going to be like the next leader of the Avengers after Tony Stark and everybody kind of stepped aside. I remember people talking about Doctor Strange. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not a big fan of his character. I liked him in the first one. I liked him in Infinity War. Yeah. And that's it. the last film, he was, kind of sidelined in his own movie. Really wasn't about him. And, I don't know if this is I don't know where they go with this character after this, but I was not feeling this character at all.
I don't know if it's recency bias or not. Probably, maybe, because I'm with you. I think as a supporting character, really, really enjoyable. The last Multiverse of Madness, just not a good movie. Again, right? And so his role in that movie maybe diminishes his place on this list. I don't know.
Bit. Yeah,
but okay, number 30 it is. All right, the Hulk beat him though. Number 29, they've got Bruce Banner and the Hulk. Mark Ruffalo, obviously, Edward Norton. Again, this is a tough one. This is a tough one for me. Because I'm such a huge Hulk fan, right, from our childhood. Lou Ferrigno and the Hulk. I mean, just talk about original superhero television. It doesn't get much more, original. Otherwise, you're going back to Batman and some of the things that are really, really
Yeah,
original. But
absolutely.
I'm just talking about, in recent past. So they have, they've been all over the place with Hulk, right? Which version of the Hulk, Professor Hulk, Smart Hulk, Smashing Hulk, the Hulk we got in the Thor movie. It's a tough one for me on the Hulk, not to mention the Hulk and She-Hulk. Again, I'm trying not to keep bringing up She-Hulk, but obviously, he and his son were in She-Hulk. What do
Oh
you
my
think
God.
about? What do
Don't
you think
remind
about?
me, man.
I
The
know,
the
I
Hulk
know.
the Hulk is just he's such an awesome character. And it's sad that they went away from the Edward Norton version of the Hulk, which I thought Ed Norton did a great job on that original Hulk film. This Hulk is nothing like that. Mark Ruffalo, I do not like him as the Hulk as Bruce Banner. Edward Norton felt more like the guy on the run from the army.
Yeah,
And, this Bruce Banner feels like somebody that's just kind of, in the background hanging out, but he doesn't feel like a character. They really needed to do a second Hulk movie. And unfortunately, they never got to do that because I guess, Universal has the distribution rights and they didn't want to mess around with Universal or whatever the case may be. I think that Hulk needed his second movie in order to really flesh out his character and give us more. I was looking forward to the leader being the villain. They had set him up in the original Incredible Hulk. They had set up Samuel Stearns as the leader, and that was going to be like, oh, yes, here we go. Here we go. This is going to be awesome. Nothing came of that. So yeah, it's just really sad that, this character is an amazing character and, he should be top 5, in any other list, but I think just between how they've used him and the actor that's playing him, I'm just not feeling this guy whatsoever. So yeah, he should probably be around 39. You can flip him with some of those other guys down at the bottom of this list, and that probably would have been a better list,
and
yeah,
by the way, some folks asking in the chat, who's listed? So this is a writer at Variety put this list
yeah,
together. I don't think there was any voting involved. I don't think there was potentially any collaboration involved. I just think whoever this writer is said, you know what, I need to make my quota. Let me put an article out. And the article they
yeah,
put out is
yeah, yeah.
here's my top 40. So that's which article we're looking at. All right, so here we go. Killmonger. Killmonger is in
Yeah.
at 28.
He's definitely a good character, but he's, not, how do I say this? He's a good character. He's a good character. He's not somebody that I would consider, you know, was this top 30? I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah.
characters in the Marvel in Marvel in cinema. So yeah, I don't know. This is interesting. This is an interesting choice, but he's a good character. I liked him in Black Panther. I don't think he's he takes away from the movie at all. He actually adds to the movie. So all right.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I guess okay. This person, number 28. There he is, Killmonger.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right, Jessica Jones is here at 27. What do we think about Jessica Jones?
I liked the first season of Jessica Jones. I thought she's a good character. I didn't like her in the Defenders or any of her other series. I didn't like her in her other. Did they do 3 seasons? I don't even remember past season 1. And
I couldn't make it through the
in
Defenders. I tried. I did try to watch
yeah,
it.
Defenders
I
was
just
bad.
couldn't.
It should have been so much better. But yeah, the first season of Jessica Jones is great. It is phenomenal. But after that, yeah, this character just kind of falls off. So yeah, not really my favorite character after that. She's okay.
Yeah, all right. Number
This is
27.
a very interesting list, man. It's kind of a
I know. Wait,
it's
it
kind of
gets
a
better. It gets
wild
better.
grab bag of random characters, and yeah, I don't know.
Remember, you said number 1 was Iron Man, right? I see
I
some
think
people.
number 1 should be Iron Man. That's the best character they've done so far in Marvel, period. But yeah, let's get to it.
I see some folks. I see some folks in the chat. Oh, it's gonna be Captain Marvel. We'll see. We'll see if it's Iron Man or
I
not.
wouldn't be shocked.
All right, number
Blade.
26, Blade.
Okay.
Eric
Yeah.
Brooks, Blade.
Yeah, I can see Blade. Blade's good.
Yeah.
Until
Until the next movie comes out, and they probably ruin, right? But for now,
man, I hope not.
for now,
top 20 character in my opinion. I think he's a little low.
Yeah, I was gonna say I probably would have put Blade a little bit higher
a little bit higher than this one.
As
Yeah.
well.
All
But
right.
made the list at least higher than some of the other ones. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
He's higher than those. All right, Daredevil makes it at number
Whoa.
25.
Okay, this is bad. This
Yeah,
list has
everyone's
just
like, this
gotten
list is
completely
trash.
destroyed. Yeah. Forget it, man. Forget it. You can just go ahead and change now. This list is trash. This list is trash. What are they talking about? Are
Nikki
you
said I like to
kidding me?
trigger people with my bad list. Right? I didn't make the list. I just thought it was interesting. Just thought it was. Oh, now
Man,
someone's saying
Richmond, you should have just skipped this list altogether after you saw Matt Murdock at 25. You know what? All right, I ain't even bringing this list up. I'm thinking, all right, my whole time I'm thinking Matt Murdock's going to be in the top 10 somewhere, at least top 10. They put him at 25.
25.
Good God almighty. What the heck? See that again, this variety. All right, say no more. That's ridiculous.
Listen, Miss Marvel number 20.
Oh, wow.
24. Oh, we lost him. We lost him now. I knew. I told you it got better. You had to walk away. Miss Marvel is higher than Daredevil. Oh, that's great. That is great.
Yeah, man. You can go ahead and just move on, Richmond.
I love this list. This is so much fun. All right, moving on. Number 3 is Doc Ock. So they had Doc Ock at least higher than Miss Marvel. Oh, so bad.
I can't take these people seriously, man. I can't. I just can't take them seriously. But yeah, Doc Ock's a great character. I cannot take him seriously after that.
All right. Well. Listen. Nick Fury makes.
Let's just skip right through there. We got to speed run this one now.
Nick Fury makes the list at 22.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So,
he's probably a top 20 character too, but you know, this person that made this is a complete idiot. So yeah. All right. 22.
Yeah. And again, there can be some recency bias here. It depends on which Nick Fury it is. We don't have to go back into all that. But Nick Fury is 22. Professor X at 21.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Professor X, 21.
Yeah,
Miss Marvel hasn't been up, or Captain Marvel isn't, so she's probably number 1. Whoever put this in, they probably right. It's probably Captain Marvel. Yeah, let's keep going.
All right. Professor X, number 21. Thor is here at number 20. You know,
yeah, Thor's a I would have had Thor probably top 15. I would say he should have been top 15.
Yeah.
Xavier should have been higher than Thor. And Thor should be top 15. So man.
Number 20. All right. We're in the top 20 now. We're in the top 20. Look, the Green Goblin, better than Thor. Got to put the Green Goblin at number 19. Right? Somehow Green Goblin ranks higher.
Yeah, man. Thor. Yeah, this list is shaping up. After you showed me that, this list is shaping up exactly what I thought it would shape up like. This is just nonsense. Wow. Whoo. Yeah.
Well, listen, at least they didn't have Captain America. It's like 30.
One movie each. What's that? They
haven't got to Captain America yet. So, but at least they were.
All right. Yeah, that's true. You know? All right.
All right, but Green Goblin number
19. Norman Osborn, Nebula. Wow.
Nebula 18.
Wow. Wow.
Nebula is higher than Thor.
Oh my God.
Nebula 18.
I can't believe this. This is trash, man. These guys,
keep moving. Here we go. We've got a Tom Holland now. We've got Tom Holland Spider-Man at 17.
You know, I know a lot of people like Tom Holland Spider-Man, and I think he's okay, but he is nowhere he's not better than Andrew Garfield, and he certainly isn't better than Tobey Maguire. His Spider-Man is fine. I know a lot of people like this Spider-Man. I'm not a big fan of his Spider-Man. I think his Peter Parker, I think he's okay. You know, but yeah, this is
number 17. There you go. All right.
16
is Deadpool. 16 is Deadpool.
Honestly, I love Deadpool. But he's probably, in my opinion, he's about like a 15. He's about in the top 15, right at 15. Yeah, man. Richmond, man, I don't know where you found this article or why you decided to bring this up. This was brought
So
up to torture
so
me.
so in
You
full
brought this up
disclosure,
to mess with me.
Coach made the agenda tonight. So I said to
Oh,
Coach,
it's Coach? Okay, I
yeah.
got Coach's
No, well,
plan.
I mean, I find the articles, but I said to Coach, I said, put together the agenda that you would have wanted to speak to had you been able to be present. I said, so at least we can do justice to the agenda. So this Coach put the agenda together, but I am responsible for finding this
Man,
article.
that's ridiculous, man.
All right,
All right, what else
16
we got?
Deadpool. Peggy Carter. Peggy Carter has been
I'm not
more than
surprised,
four.
honestly. I'm not surprised. Actually, Agent Carter is a good character.
Yeah.
Peggy Carter is a good character. Not top 15, certainly. Maybe top 25, maybe. But yeah, this is these guys. I already know how the rest of this list is gonna go. Let's just keep going. This is trash.
All right. Number 14, Magneto.
Yeah, I think he's top 15.
Yeah,
I think
they
he's
did all
top
right with
15,
that.
for sure.
Magneto is obviously an iconic character, and
Yeah, for
of
sure.
course Ian McKellen's portrayal of
I
Fassbender
love
is
Ian
fine.
McKellen.
Right, but Ian
I
McKellen,
like Fassbender too. I think Fassbender did
yeah,
a good job.
I think both
Yeah.
of them did. People are feeling the hate. They're really triggered with this list. All right,
Man.
number 14. Remember Magneto, number 14. All right, Natasha, Black Widow is here. It's number 13.
Yeah, she fell off in Black Widow. I think she was great during the actual first 3 phases. Black Widow, not feeling the character at all. They should have did her movie earlier.
And I guess we're getting
well.
another. We're going to talk about some of Feige's comments here in just.
Oh yeah, bring it. Oh my God! Yeah.
But he said they've got another. They've got something in the works with Scarlett Johansson. So obviously,
we'll see about that.
It's more Black Widow. So
yeah, the whole list. Look, everybody's like Black Widow over Magneto. Look, the whole list is trash. This whole list is garbage.
They
so
may yet redeem themselves, right? When we get in when they get in the top 10,
this whole list is garbage. I've taught who wrote this? Do you have the name of the person so I can write that individual's name down and never take them seriously ever again? Who is the person?
It's Jordan. Oh, Adam Very does a lot of stuff for them too. It's
and
Jordan
Adam Very.
and
Got
Adam
it. Got
Very.
it. Let me write this down real quick. I'm never listening to anything these two clowns ever got to say ever again.
So they did. There was at least 2 opinions in this list. All right, number 12 is the Winter Soldier, old Bucky Barnes. Somehow more than Thor, more than some of the rest of these, Bucky Barnes makes their way almost into the top.
Professor X, Daredevil, Bucky Barnes. That's
Magneto,
our guy. Please, man.
Bucky, Winter Soldier, he's way out there, almost making it into the top 10.
Yikes, man! This is trash, man. Golly. All right,
Thanos.
Thanos should be 11. A top 5 character. I'm sorry, man. Thanos is top 5. I cannot wait. Oh man, I want to see who this person put in this top 5. That's what I want to see. Sheesh.
All right, here we go. Top 10. Gwen Stacy. Gwen Stacy is our first of the top 10. Oh, this list is so much fun. Man. This list is so much fun.
Wow. This is your top MCU.
Number 9, Rocket. Someone said, is Rocket going to show up? Yes.
You know what? Rocket belongs on the list before like Gwen Stacy does. Jesus. Man. This is funny, man. This is hilarious, man.
Miles is next. I remember who number 1 is. I don't remember the rest of the top 10.
It should have been Iron Man, but I already know it's not because this guy who made this list is a moron.
Loki, number 8.
All right, man. Loki definitely deserves top 10 status. Okay, so I'm gonna just, that's the first one that deserves top 10 status. So, all right, cool. Loki, top 10. I'll give him credit for.
Speaking of Loki, what a sad ending! What a sad ending to Loki season 2. I had a moment.
I haven't seen it. No spoilers.
I'm not going to spoil it. I will tell you.
I want to see how
I think they really did a great job in the last few episodes.
Okay.
But yeah, his glorious purpose. I recommend. Definitely recommend.
All right, I'm gonna check it out right after this.
Number 7. Oops, oops.
Steve
Number
Rogers definitely
7, Steve
deserves top
Rogers,
10
Captain
status.
America, making it as number 7. So again,
Okay.
that's okay.
So that's 2 in the top 10 that he at least has in the top 10, which I'll say good. Good 2 top 10 numbers. However you want to sort them out, that depends upon your personal, viewpoint, but at least I agree. Top 10 on both of those. All right. 6.
Oh boy. Here we go. No, it's all right. Here we go.
Top 15 maybe.
Wanda.
Wanda's
Number
a great
6.
character. Listen, I love Wanda and I love Elizabeth Olsen in the role.
Yes.
So I'm cool with, putting her in maybe the top 15, maybe not even top 15, probably top 20. But yeah. I'm you know what? This is personal preference, but she's not, Miss Marvel or some nonsense like that. So all right, cool. I'll allow it. But yeah, this is not to me, it's not a top 10. It's not a top 10. But yeah, I like Scarlet Witch. I like Scarlet Witch. I think the Scarlet Witch is a good character, and I think Elizabeth Olsen is really good in the role. All right, here we go. Top 5. Here we go.
All right, are you ready for the top 5? Ready for the top 5? All right, steel yourself. Number 5, Black Panther. Black Panther
Not
making the top 5.
Not top 5. Top 10. Top 10. I think in Civil War, good in Civil War, good in his own movie. All right, good in Infinity War. He was good throughout. So top 10 maybe. You could argue top 10. I would say definitely top 15. I would say definitely not top 15, not top 5, not top 5. And an argument could be made for top 10 because I think the character is well-rounded. They did a good job writing him. His story is interesting. Everything he goes through, obviously, from his father dying to trying to get revenge against Bucky, like the whole storyline they laid out for T'Challa is a good story. But no, not top 5 at all. And I guess you could make an argument for top 10. I definitely think he's a top 15 character, though. All right.
Number 5. All right. Number 4. Wolverine is here.
He was in my top 3. So he's down a bit, but okay. I'm cool with that. All right.
Yes.
Number 4. And he's been in so many films.
Yeah.
And he's done a great job, and he's about to be in Deadpool again. So yeah, his legacy is solid as far as Marvel characters are concerned. So yeah, I'm good. I'm good with that.
I'm a little scared because we haven't gotten Captain Marvel yet, and I've forgotten. She has to be in. I'm sure she's here. She has to be in the top 3.
She can't be in here now. Now that we've gotten to Logan, she can't be a part of this thing at all. She cannot be in here now that we've gotten to Logan.
I'm a little afraid. To go to the next one because I feel like she's gonna pop up any minute now. All right,
number 3.
Miles Morales, number 3.
Like I said, man, we already knew. Yeah, Wolverine is absolutely top 3. We already knew this list was trash. How is Miles Morales a top? This is recency bias. That's what this is. That's what this is. This is recency bias. He just had a movie. The guys that watch this movie love it, and they probably felt they had to get a quote unquote person of color in there. Let's throw ahead at Miles Morales. There we go. Man, I'm so tired of this joint.
Miles Morales, number 3. Okay, number 2. Who is it? All right, we got another. Okay, so Captain Marvel didn't.
He was in my top 5 as well.
Captain Marvel did not make the list. There's a shocker.
I'm surprised. I'm shocked.
I know who number 1. I know who number 1 is, and it ain't Captain Marvel.
It's Iron Man. I called from the beginning.
Yeah. So Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man in at number 2. So all right, it's number 1. Do you think it's Iron Man? Do you think you were right?
Of course it is, man. Everything else in this list was terrible. At least he got this right. Yeah. At least they got one thing right for sure. Is the number 1 character in all of Marvel moviedom is Iron Man. But boy, everything else that he had in this list, man, yikes.
You kind of have to pick. I guess you didn't have to, but you should pick sort of the founding father of the cinematic universe, right? You kind of have to. You
have to. Yeah, it's the only thing that this guy got right. Everything else, well, not everything else. He had some guys in the top 10. Like I said, I would have put Cap in the top 10. And then Wolverine, I would have had him maybe in the top 3. But these are all guys that I definitely would have put in there. But Miles Morales and that, come on, man, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Oh man,
All
what a
right, we
journey
did.
that was, man. Thanks a
We
lot, Ristman.
we did. You're welcome. You're welcome. We did. We did it. As painful as it might have been, we survived. We
Holy
survived. We
smokes, man.
survived my shit list of the top 40 varieties opinion of the top.
I just
40
wonder, like,
Marvel.
what do these guys watch? Like, who's watching these films, and what are y'all seeing that I don't see? In some of these characters and some of these films, it's just, it's amazing.
All right. Before we go on to the next topic, sticking with Marvel, I did see Graph Web is here, most consistent super chatter on YouTube, asking folks always #cancel Disney Plus. Gosh, quite a few people did cancel. I think there are a few more
a whole
people
lot of
did
people
cancel
canceling
Disney
Plus.
Plus.
There's nothing on it.
As far as where they're at the moment. So,
Absolutely.
all right, thanks for that, Graph Web. Great to see you here this evening. So, speaking of Iron Man, and the future of the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Feige was out and about talking about some things. Obviously, while the actor strike was still on, just recently he was trying to promote trying to promote the Marvels. And so one of the things, I think it was Entertainment Tonight. I don't know if we actually have his little interview here or not. I'm pretty sure it was Entertainment Tonight. Asked him, what's going on, right? And this is, again, this article is always talking about the My Time to Shine. Hello, I think that's their name, right? Always tweeting things.
Yeah. My Time to Shine. Hello, Twitter. Yeah.
A pseudo leaker, scooper, insider. Who knows? Again. Sometimes right, sometimes wrong, like the rest of these, folks. They're saying that he's coming back as, coming back to Marvel, ostensibly as something to do with Tony Stark / Iron Man. Also saying again that Scarlett Johansson was coming back, and so they did ask this interview at Entertainment. They asked a few different things, and we'll talk about the Star Wars comment. They asked about Star Wars as well, but they had Kevin Feige there. And so they said, well, what about, is it true? Are you bringing the band back together? And Kevin Feige's like, oh, really? Is that he said, is that a rumor? We didn't talk about anything to do with Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man in our retreat. We are doing something with Scarlett Johansson. Yes. And he said,
Right.
Robert Downey Jr. is a part of the family. And of course we'd love to, we love him a lot, but he said, we didn't talk about it. He was very specific. We didn't talk about bringing him back at the retreat. So he didn't really say he wasn't coming back. He made sure to comment that they didn't talk about it recently when they were together in a big think tank, talking about how do we move forward. So what do you think? You think he's coming back?
No, I don't think he's coming back. I don't think Robert Downey Jr. would be smart to come back. I don't know. They would have to pay him a lot of money. They would have to pay him a king's ransom to bring him back. And even if they paid him that amount, yeah, I'd lose respect for him too. Absolutely. Even if he did come back, there's no guarantee that he would bring the fans back with him. Under what context do you bring back Iron Man into the Marvel Cinematic Universe? He's dead. Why? How do you bring him back? Under what story do you bring him back? How do you make it make sense? Alternate universe, all that kind of nonsense. That's what people don't like about the multiverse, is that there's no stakes. You can always just drag back a character. And then if you just bring them back for one movie, is it just fan service? It's pointless. It's pointless. There's no point in bringing them back. What they need to do is get some solid footing on what the Marvel Cinematic Universe needs to be moving forward. When you're talking about characters like Reed Richards and, the Fantastic Four, getting into the X-Men, that's what they need to do. Stop trying to go back and play on the member berries. Oh, you remember Iron Man? Remember Iron Man? We love Iron Man, don't we? Well, here you go. And, hoping that brings all the fans back to the theaters. That's not the way this works. You got to actually have a good, solid storyline from, or a good way of bringing the character back into the story that makes sense. And it doesn't make any sense. So
Well, and going and get the whole let's go and get variants of all the old guard and let's bring them back together to do whatever.
that's
To me,
whack.
it absolutely diminishes the sacrifice and sort of the closure that these
Right.
characters got in Endgame,
Right.
and for some subsequent to that, right? But clearly, you know, I
That's
don't.
my
I'm with
that's
you.
the reason why I don't think Robert Downey Jr. would want to do it again. You know, he got to go out in Endgame like a G. He went out on his shield. He went out like a cold stone G. Snap, boom, and took care of business. I am Iron Man. That's it. You don't want to bring this guy back. If I'm Robert Downey Jr., don't even call me, Kevin. I don't even want to take that phone call. You know, don't even call me about that nonsense, man. Do you need some help with writing? I'll get you. I'll put you in touch with some writers, and it'll help you maybe write this thing. But there's no way in the world I'm coming back to this. There's no way. No, that's what I'm saying. The Marvel needs to find a path forward instead of trying to retrace their steps and go back and play upon people's nostalgia for the good old days. You know, that's not going to work.
Yeah, and clearly he's still working, right? He had a wonderful role in Oppenheimer. I
Yeah,
didn't even know it
yeah.
was him for most of the movie, and then I'm like, holy cow, that's rare. I kept looking. I knew he
Great
was in the
actor, man.
movie,
You know, he doesn't.
and then I'm
He
like,
didn't get
oh
the
wait,
roles that
now
he
I
used to
saw
get.
him. Now I
Yeah,
saw him. I was like, oh my, that there he is. That's Robert Downey. So I mean, he's certainly not like
absolutely.
he's begging for work, right? I mean,
Right.
he's gonna get cast, but don't bring him back as Iron Man. You know,
Nah.
don't bring Chris Evans back as Captain America. Don't do it now just because you feel like you need that Hail Mary, right? Or you need to do something else. I would rather them bring in, the X-Men and Fantastic Four and do some more forward-thinking things and just
Right.
leave some of the rest of this go for a little while than I personally would like to see Iron Man back.
Yeah. They're even talking about rebooting the whole thing after
Yeah.
Secret Wars, you know, which I think is a huge mistake as well. You know, just keep telling the stories that you're currently telling and just tell better stories, you know, and stop trying to push ideology down everybody's throats. That's how you do it. And they would be just fine, you know, but we'll see. Kevin Feige, I think they're starting to wake up to the fact that they can't just keep doing what they're doing, and they're going to have to actually, you know, maybe dive back into the comics and tell stories in the comics. The comics, you know, like they, you know, spun off the first three phases. They were spinning off stories from the comic books, and now in these last couple of phases, they're really kind of going outside and doing their own thing, and none of this stuff is working. They're not, you know, talking to the actual fans that have been fans of Marvel and, you know, comic book material for, you know, years and years and years. They're just having, you know, the Jessica Gao and the writers of She-Hulk and all that. And that's who they have, you know, doing their content. So, yeah, I think they need to, you know, get back to, you know, what worked in the first three phases, which, hey, let's dip into the comics. Let's find some storylines that we can adapt and move forward with that. That's what I would do.
No, I'm with you 100%, and I think now that Kevin Feige is in charge of the comics as well,
Yeah.
it may or may not be a good thing, right? At one point, if this was a few years ago and we were having this conversation, I would have probably been all on board with that, right? I'm like, okay, that's great. You know, they're bringing in some good connectivity and doing whatever. Again, now I think there's been a little bit of a confidence shakeup here.
Right.
And again, this Entertainment Tonight reporter said to Feige very specifically, they said something like, well, what should we be looking forward to? What should we be anticipating as the future of the MCU? And this, I guess this interview would have been Tuesday or Wednesday. And his response was, well, this week you should be looking forward to, you should be
Marvel.
looking forward to the Loki finale, right? And obviously you
Yeah.
should be, looking forward to what you're going to see here in the Marvels, because he said it. He said, there are a lot of things being set up here that talk about the future of the MCU, but of course he wouldn't comment anything other than that, because again, as our next article is going to talk about, I think they're going to use the strike now as a way to delay things. Number one, that couldn't have been finished clearly, but number two, because some of these things haven't been working, and so we'll talk about that in a second. But I did reach out to one other person And he's
Okay.
here now. I think he was with his family earlier, but he is here now. I'll bring him in. He's been here before. You know him, the Sundowners. Sundowners Club is with us. So
What is
good to
going
see you, my
on?
friend. How are you this evening?
I'm good. I'm recovering. Getting better. How about you guys?
Good. What are you
Good,
recovering
doing
from?
good.
So I had wisdom teeth removed on
Oh,
Monday,
I
but
forgot.
the worst part about it was they did a complete bone graft of like the majority of my mouth, and that's been hard. That's I've had good days and bad days, but
Oof.
Wow.
and I've got to travel on Monday for a week, so I'm better though, better than I was.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. I hope you're well. You'll be well. You know, the plane, not to pile on, but the plane travel can be a tough one after having after having anything done with the devil
Yeah,
working. The rest of
yeah.
it.
Hopefully, I'll get through it. But it's a good time to come in. So the topic is bringing back our,
Yeah, so
RDJ,
you talk
right?
about it before I move on to the next topic. What are your thoughts about bringing back any of the old guard? Again, this article was very specifically talking about Robert Downey Jr.,
You
but what do you think? What do you think about all that?
when normally I'd be a little bit more open to it, but if you look at Avengers Endgame in a decade of building up towards a storyline that saw uh, Scarlett Johansson and RDJ's characters die for the cause of what was the ultimate story. Because that movie is a top 3 or 4 movie of all time in terms of the grosses and the I don't think you can bring them back. And if I thought there's ways to have Downey Jr. show up where he's not really back, where you maybe see an advanced version of Jarvis, an AI, or something where he's built something that we didn't know about. But to bring him back, no, I think you gotta get the X-Men casting right. I think you've got to cast the new Wolverine right. You've got to roll with Deadpool. You've got Spider-Man. So you've got characters that Reed Richards. You've got to cast these characters. I watched a movie last night with Michael Fassbender, and I forgot how great of an actor Michael Fassbender
The
is.
Killer. You watched The Killer as well,
I
didn't you? I
watched The
watched it earlier
Killer,
today. Yes.
and the whole movie had the theme, the Smiths music to it.
Yeah, I was like, this guy loves the Smiths more than anyone.
Yeah,
I've never met someone who loved the Smiths music as much as this guy did. It was playing every time. I'm like, oh gosh.
But yeah, so like Fassbender, I would love to see them keep the Magneto version of Fassbender, and if not, cast him in a new role where he looks different, so you don't associate him with Magneto from the past movies. But yeah, we know they're going to do the X-Men, so I would say you got to get that right, and you've got some characters that I think you got to cast somebody as the new Black Panther, and it can't be a girl. Sorry, but you had your Chadwick Boseman died. Bring in John Boyega. Bring in there's who's the guy that played Black Manta in Aquaman. Like there's actors you can bring in that play Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
Yahya Abdul
yeah.
Mateen.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you got to cast these characters to take you to the next wave, and I think the female characters need to be some of the ones like you see in X-Men. Storm and Rogue and Jean Grey. Like so, there's ways they can go, but if you bring back Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. in living form, you diminish one of the greatest movies of all time that was made, and the
Absolutely.
story. I don't think you
Yep.
can do it. I think it's an admission that you've ruined it.
Yeah, I think it sounds like we're, and a lot of people in the chat are agreeing as well. It sounds like we're in violent agreement.
I think it's just a rumor. Honestly, it's just a rumor that guy wants to put out there to try to sell, or get people talking or whatever, and and that happens. But I don't think there's any chance that Kevin Feige is seriously considering it.
No, I think I'm with you. We'll see if it comes to pass. But in speaking of continuing on this thought process, now we're talking about, all right, the strike ended, and the first thing they did was delayed everything again. And I'm going to bring up another list just because I think it's interesting, just talking about all the movies that are now still coming out next year versus what's gotten delayed. But here we've got delays for Deadpool 3, Captain America 4, and Thunderbolts, just based upon what's going on. And you can see here Deadpool 3 is being delayed. This one's going from May to July of 2024. And then we've got Brave New World going now to 2025. And then, again, these were originally 2024 releases. And then Thunderbolts now moving quite a while, December the 20th, 2024 to July the 25th. And then poor Blade, right? Is the movie ever going to come out again? It's memeing itself at this point. But now it's going from February to November 2025. How much of this do you all think was really driven by the strikes versus how much of it is driven by the story? I know specifically Captain America Brave New World, I think, just recently had some atrocious screenings, just screened so very badly that they sort of are taking it a bit back to the drawing board, which again ostensibly is a bit of what happened with the Marvels, which is why the editing was so pronounced in the movie. But what do you guys think? Do you think this is really strike driven? Do you think they're rethinking these stories? And by the way, for Deadpool 3, a follow-on question, do you think we're going to be disappointed? Do you think Hugh Jackman is really back as Wolverine? You think he's back for a different reason? What do y'all think about the dates and very specifically Deadpool 3? Because it looks like there's a lot riding on that now as sort of the next thing coming out.
I'll say this. I think that they have bumped it back partially due to the strike. I don't think it's 100% because of the strike. I think that, they realize they have to do some changes. Blade, obviously, they've had so many issues with Blade that, they've changed directors, I think 3 times now. They've had like 5 different writers on it. They went back to a page 1 rewrite, I think 2 or 3 times. So they haven't figured out Blade yet. Now they actually have a good writer and I think maybe a good director. So I think Blade, they shifted that backwards for that reason, that, we just weren't getting this thing right. Whether or not that had anything to do with the strike, I don't think it had anything to do with the strike. Now, Brave New World, Thunderbolts, that stuff, I think that stuff is absolutely related, partially due to the strike, but then also the way Marvel has been, producing their content. And they know they're not getting it right. They're starting to say, okay, we're not getting this right. We got to go back and figure out what is the story we want to tell for these various films. They've done that with, Daredevil. They did the same thing with Daredevil, and that, I don't think that had anything to do with the strike, because they were already, halfway through shooting the season before they pulled the plug on that and said, okay, we're in the wrong place here. We're not doing something right. And we got to start all the way over from scratch. Rumors are that they did the same thing with Echo, that they, had an entire season shot. Kevin Feige finally sees the season and says, whoa, what's going on here? All right, we need to redo this entire season. And so I think there's partial due to the strikes. Yeah, we haven't been able to get guys on set. We haven't been able to get some of these scripts rewritten. Okay, we got to push this stuff back because we can't come out in the time frame that we had allotted. But we also need to do more rewrites and reshoots. We probably need to, take some of this back to the drawing board and see how does this fit in with our overall picture. I think that, especially with the stuff going on with Jonathan Majors and Kang, and will they actually keep him as the main villain? I think that's a big question as to what they do going forward, because if Jonathan Majors is out and they've been talking about, well, maybe we'll introduce Dr. Doom as the actual villain. We've been, hearing those rumors. Okay, well, if that's the case, then, where do you bring Dr. Doom in? He hasn't been introduced into the MCU yet. Where do you bring him in? Do you fast track the Fantastic Four film, or do you drop him in like a lot of people thought he was going to get dropped in Wakanda Forever? He didn't.
Yes.
So, you got to figure that stuff out. So I think they're scaling things back and giving themselves some space to figure out what it is that they want to do. And then once they figure that all out, and then, okay, we're going to move forward and, we'll have some films and, and that's how I think it's going.
Yeah, I'm with you. Sundowners, what are your thoughts on the shakeup here? And like I say, in the second, I'll bring up just a list of what is or isn't coming, just because I think it's interesting. But what do you think about the future of Marvel and these changes specifically?
Well, I think to start with, Blade had nothing to do with the strike. Marshall Ali told him he was walking. They played around with one of the top actors around in terms of he's a serious actor. Not that other people that are in Marvel movies are not. Well, some are not, but and so I think that one is completely based on the fact that they were gonna kill Blade in its current form, and he wasn't gonna be part of it. So I think the writer that they have now wrote Logan. Is that
Yes,
correct?
that is correct.
So I think they're going to try to go back to the drawing board and get that right. Will they run out of time? Will he still play Blade? I don't know, but so I don't think that one had to do with the strike. I do think Deadpool 3 did, although I'm just happy we're going to get Deadpool in 2024 at all. Like, there was a real chance I don't think they'd filmed very much before they called it, during the actor strike. I think they were filming and then shut it down, but I think that one was impacted by the strike for sure. And so I think it's a combination of they're getting a chance to do some resets. The who is going to be the big bad of the future movies, the Secret Wars and all that. I think you have to have a conversation around a little bit around Loki before you say definitively what's going to happen. I think that I do think they are changing things due to what has occurred with Jonathan Majors. To what extent? Well, I think we'll find out soon. I think he's going to get the Johnny Depp treatment. Now, I'm not saying for anybody listening, I don't know the specifics around what someone did or didn't do. I'm just saying from a Disney standpoint, they typically panic when something is going to be, bad press around an actor. And
well, the optics, the optics are bad, right?
Yeah.
And as great as he was, he actually ended up playing. Oh, I won't spoil it. He played at least one Kang variant, 2 Kang variants he played in Loki, and I thought again he did really well, just embodying the character, and I think it's it's one of those things where, on your point, Sundowners, they don't know what's going to happen with him in real life.
Right.
And now it's a tough way forward for them, because so much, and this is so strange, right? But so much of what they were going to do was built around him as a villain. In the
I would
future.
tell them, I'd say, you know what a bigger problem you have? The bigger problem you have is that you had a movie in Quantumania where you took your big bad and you had a D-level character beat him. Like, you're going to introduce, like, it's like introducing Thanos. You're going to introduce someone to be the big bad, and I know their answer will be, well, because of the variants and because there's thousands of Kangs. I don't want to hear any of that garbage. Nobody walked out of that theater saying, man, I didn't like Jonathan Majors in that movie. He wasn't the problem. The problem is what they did with the character.
With his character. Yeah.
With Ant-Man, who is, look, they're lucky they had an individual standalone Ant-Man movie that maybe didn't lose money before Quantumania. I would have never said, hey, let's do an Ant-Man movie. Why do we need an Ant-Man movie? If ever there was a character that you could put on a Disney Plus series, it would have been Ant-Man.
I always saw Ant-Man because it had kind of a kid focus, with his daughter. I always saw that as like, okay, this is kind of like your entry level Marvel kids, we do all of this other heavy material. Here's something for the kids, let's let the kids get in here and have a good time. That's how I always thought Ant-Man. But yeah, I don't think they needed a third film.
Well, the first film, when they did the whole train track or in the room, that's classic. That's fine.
Yeah,
but why they felt the need to do the whole Quantumania thing? So I think that's the bigger issue they have, because look, these days Disney doesn't have they're not in a position to point the finger at too much of anyone for how they should be living their life. So I think the bigger issue is who's your big bad? And I agree with the Doctor Doom thing. Like, how are you going to introduce Doctor Doom? You got to figure that out. You got to have people that know.
Right.
You cannot walk into a room and create a story about the Fantastic Four, about Doctor Doom, and not understand the history of Doctor Doom in the comics. Like, you know, that's the problem is where do they go with some of these characters? Now, Deadpool, what I always loved about Deadpool is you can do a lot. You mentioned, are we going to really see, is it really Wolverine?
Is it really Wolverine?
There's a shot of the 20th Century Fox logo, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of destroyed.
Yeah.
Deadpool plays upon a comedic element so much that it could have been Deadpool showing up on a set where Hugh Jackman is filming Wolverine.
Exactly. And that's
so,
what people are, that's exactly what people are afraid of. They're
Yeah.
afraid of this meta business that might be, I know Nick has spoken about
I
this
think
many
that's
times,
what it's
right?
going to be.
They're really afraid that we're going to experience Hugh Jackman, this meta, Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine in the context of this movie, and we're not really going to experience Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Yeah.
If that made any sense at all.
Yeah.
So,
no, it does.
Yeah. So I think it's to answer the question and come all the way back around. I think it's a combination of Deadpool was definitely impacted by the strike, and the rest of it is them doing damage control, because you can't tell me that they're going to put that many movies in 2025.
Well, so here, let me tell you exactly what we know at the moment. Wonderful segue. You must be reading my mind. Because again, you know, people ask a lot, well, what's coming out? What do we know is still coming out? And so this is as of earlier today, or maybe it's as of the 9th, but I think it's mostly current. This comes from discussingfilm.net. They put together some good aggregation. But these are the movies, and there's just a few more. Oh, I got it on the screen. These are the movies that are now confirmed for 2024. And you'll see, I guess there's more of Quiet Places. I really tried on the first Quiet. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't get through. I should try it again. Couldn't get through any of the Quiet Places. But apparently there's more Quiet Place. We've got Argyle. Beetlejuice 2 is still out there for 2024. Here you'll see Deadpool. Now Dune is moved to March the 15th. Well, this says 2023, but it should be 2024, right? Dune moved out of 2023.
Yeah, because it was November. It was originally November 2023.
Well, and that's why we had such a dismal box office a week or so ago, right? Because Dune moved out, nothing of note moved in, unfortunately. Oops, let me bring these back up. Okay. Garfield's getting another movie. All right. Ghostbusters. This one's called The Frozen Empire now. I think we'll watch the trailer a little bit later just because I think it's fun. But that one's right now on March the 29th, 2024. Ridley Scott. I think it's still Ridley Scott, right? It's doing another Gladiator. That's also coming in November 2024. So that one's still there. The next Godzilla also still in 2024. I guess Inside Out 2 is getting some press here recently because I guess they just put out a teaser or a trailer. They put something out that apparently broke the records, right? Broke a record on the number of people who watched some sort of, I forget what it was, but Inside Out won something recently. Anyway, from a viewership perspective, coming in June. This Joker, is this the one that's the musical? Isn't there a musical Joker coming? This might be it. Coming in October of 2024. Another Karate Kid movie. Oh boy. Coming in December. The Planet of the Apes. Next Planet of the Apes. Which I know some people, I'm not huge into the newer movies, but I know a lot of people are into that. Coming in May 2024. So again, around Memorial Day. This Craven movie, I don't know why we're having it, but it got delayed and it's coming out in August. My goodness, have there been 3 Kung Fu Pandas? I guess there have been a lot of Kung Fu Pandas. Now there's a number 4 coming out in March. There you go. The Lord of the Rings. There's another Lord of the. This one I don't know. There's another Lord of the Rings something coming in December. Anyone know about this? Lord of the Rings, the War of the.
I didn't know it was coming out that soon. I think that's probably going to end up getting bumped back. I didn't think it was coming out that soon. I remember hearing about that. And is that animated? Wait a minute.
I don't know. I honestly don't know anything about it.
That can't be live action.
Let me see.
Somebody
I think
Google it
that's
while I'm looking.
animated.
Is it animated?
I believe so. Let me.
I guess I could. Lord of the
Yeah,
Rings.
animated. Yeah, it's an animated film.
Okay.
Yeah, but
okay.
I didn't
'Cause
even think
know
it was coming out this soon.
Yeah, because there's the Transformers one is coming up also, which I know is animated.
Yeah.
All right, so there's an animated Lord of the Rings something coming out in December. Madam Web, boy, still doing Madam Web, coming out in February.
Yeah.
More Lion
I
King,
don't think so.
more Lion King, also
Man.
December. Sonic, these are fun. I hope Jim Carrey's back. To me, the best part of these Sonic movies has been Jim Carrey and his
Yeah.
portrayal there. I mean, just talk about a role that's perfect for him. But again, that's coming in December. The Fall Guy, another one that looked. I saw a preview of it before the Marvels. It looks fun. This Fall Guy one looks fun.
Oh,
Coming in March, but it's not. The Fall Guy, I think
It's
this
not.
is.
You know what? I love the original series, The
Yes.
Fall Guy with Lee Majors.
of course.
And that was this seems like it's just going to be a straight comedy.
Mhm.
And there was a little bit more action. It was more of an action, series, I think, in my opinion. There was some comedy in it, obviously. But yeah, I didn't like the trailer. I was excited that they were making this film, and then I just kind of got
Didn't do it
unexcited.
for you. Maybe I was just in the mood to laugh last night. Maybe that's just on me because I
Listen,
saw that trailer and I was like, "That looks funny." It's like I can laugh.
you can give Ryan Gosling all the human growth hormone and trim fat you want. He will never pull off being Lee Majors, the unknown
No,
stuntman.
that is
ain't
true.
Never.
That is true.
That's an affront. That's
That is true. All right. Well, The Fall Guy coming in March, as of the moment. We got The Watchers in June, and then again Transformers 1 coming in September. This isn't animated, which again a little controversial. Whole new voice cast. It sounds like Coach did a video on this a little while ago now, but now it's coming out in September. Twisters, why? I don't know. I was never a big fan of you Twister fans. I mean, God, why did we
I
do
liked
that?
it. Bill Paxton. I didn't love it. I liked it. The ride at Universal was not even a ride. That was a horrible.
Oh, that was not a good experience. No,
Yeah.
no. Then we got M. Night Shyamalan always putting out weird things. I'm sure this trap will be the same. I don't know. And then we've got this alien film is now called it just flew from Romulus. This is the alien Romulus film coming out in August of 2024. And then we've got Venom 3 in November. And then I guess they're taking the Wicked musical and they're making it into 2 movies. I didn't follow this, but there's Wicked Part 1 and I think Part 2.
Man, they're banking heavy
you notice
on Wicked.
Really?
I saw somebody mention this. I saw somebody mention this. Do you see all of the everything's a sequel, everything's a remake, everything's a reboot? Like, where's the original stuff, man? Like, we used to get original content back in the days, brand new. We didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what it was. I go back when I was a kid to the summer of '84, and we had Ghostbusters. Nobody knew what to expect. We just got it, and it was like, okay, let's see what we got. We don't know, and it was great. Or then you start looking at films like Gremlins. So, brand new stuff, and we just get to sit there and just enjoy an original film. And look at the list. It's all sequels. It's all reboots. It's all remakes. Hollywood has completely lost its creative punch. They don't know how to create anything anymore. All they know how to do is say, okay, this worked. Let's go ahead and do another one. And don't get it twisted. They've always done that, but they used to also work in, original content. And it seems like they've just forgotten how to do that. And everything we're just going to remake now. We're going to have a bunch of remakes, or we're going to have a bunch of sequels. Like Kung Fu. You didn't even know there was a Kung Fu Panda 3.
Right. That was the 4th one.
And now they're doing the 4th one. And you're like, what? There was a 3? Yes. That's the problem. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I agree.
All right. Well, let's look at 2025.
Let's look at the rest of the sequels that they're going to bring.
2025 at this point, not as big a list, but again, Avatar 3. All right, we knew they were doing another one. Now it's coming all the way in December of 2025. I'm sure it'll kill it.
Yeah.
Blade we just talked about, November the 7th. Here's Captain America on February the 14th. Elio on June the 13th. Fantastic Four, May the 2nd. Whoa, How to Train Your Dragon. Now we need it in live action, apparently. June the 13th. More Megan. Megan is back. Very popular. It's a very, very. I know at Halloween Horror Nights they had a whole Megan. They're all out there dancing. Megan was a very, very popular from a horror perspective. Minecraft, really? Okay, April. That's fine.
Jason Momoa is in that, right?
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord help. Then the new Mission Impossible, which I think they've changed the name now because Dead Reckoning Part 1 didn't do so great. So I think they're calling it something else, but it's coming on May the 23rd. And then here we go, Moana, Snow White. We're not going to talk about Snow White here, but okay, yeah. Snow White, March 21st. Interestingly enough, I saw James Gunn back on Twitter here earlier today, thanking the strikes being over, etc., and then saying, and by the way, this was their original date and they're still good. I'm like, I think you should be able to hit it if it's in 2025. If you came out and said you were delaying it, then I would know there's some funny business going on, right?
Yeah, they're going to be starting filming on that pretty soon, I believe. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm actually, I wasn't on board with Superman and James Gunn and all of that, but I'm slowly coming around. I'm a big Superman fan, so I just hope he does it right. And I hope this thing works. I like the actor that's playing him. He looks good. I've seen a couple of clips of him acting. That looks good. So yeah, I'm excited about this. I'm hoping this thing is going to be really, really good.
Excited for Superman. The casting's been really good so far, I think.
Yeah, I'm jazzed up. I'm jazzed up for it as well. I really want to see what he's gonna do. After we get past these leftovers, right? We got some more. I think it's here somewhere. Did I miss Aquaman somewhere? When is Aquaman coming? I must have missed it, or maybe it's not in this list.
Aquaman's coming out this year.
Yeah, that's right. This is only a 2020. It's so funny because the article is labeled "What's coming in 2023," and there ain't one thing on this. Maybe I skipped past it. I think all the way at the top they talk about the few things still coming in 2023. But once we get through what I call the leftovers, right, and get past, the movies that were out before, I'm excited to see what James Gunn does. And
I am
also,
too. I'm hoping it works. I'm a DC fan. I hope it works, man. I just want DC to be great. So hopefully it works. Hopefully James Gunn has a good plan and he knocks it out of the park. I'm going to stay positive all the way up until this thing drops. And if it sucks, then I'll come out and say it sucks. But
and if he plays it,
stay positive and hope that it's good.
If he plays his cards right, he can take over the luster, if you will, that used to be for the MCU.
For Marvel. Yep.
Right. So, he's got that going for him now. Right. If he comes out swinging and gives us some bangers right out of the gate.
That's all we need. We just want good content. 100%. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that next one too. Batman Part 2.
Yeah. Batman Part 2 in October.
Yep.
Black Phone 2. I like the original Black Phone. That was I thought they did a pretty good job with that. I usually gravitate towards horror, but I thought that one was good. So it's coming. Exorcist, it's not for me. I know this last movie, a lot of people have said they really didn't capitalize. They spent like $400 million on the rights to The Exorcist, and the last movie they put out kind of lost sight of what made the original Exorcist such an iconic movie. But again, they're going to continue to play that out. It's coming in April 2025. Then we got Thunderbolts in July, and we've got Avatar: The Last Airbender and Spider-Man in July, and then things still coming. You can see them here, all the Star Wars stuff that who knows, right? 2026, 2027, Avatar 5, 2031. I mean, it's still coming. And like I said, let me go back to the top and see. What did they say about 2023? Not too much. But again, we're basically at the end, and I think the next big release is the prequel to the Hunger Games, which already I see people are giving are not giving high marks to. So of all the movies that I sort of scrolled past, we talked about a few of them, but what are on you all's really looking forward to list, to the extent that any of these sounded phenomenal, right? I mean, which are the must watches for you guys?
Right now it's kind of hard to say. Again, I've already said my piece on the whole sequels and prequels. They're doing a Quiet Place, prequel, which, I'm like, why? It's like you did one movie. I thought one movie was good. They did the second movie. I thought the second movie was a nice continuation of the first movie. So that was fine. Outside of that, it's like a lot of these films really just don't need to be out there at all. So it's kind of hard to get excited about any of these. But like I said, I am excited to see what happens with Superman. I'm excited to see, what these I see Sonic on there. I'm excited to see if any video game movies they're going to adapt and what that's going to look like, because we just got the word that The Legend of Zelda
Yes, live action.
live action. I am
Mhm.
pumped beyond words for that. I've been waiting on that my whole life, it feels like, so I'm excited about that as a film coming out. But yeah, nothing that was really on that list was just jumping out at me. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of good films in that list. But as far as something that's just making me, I'm rubbing my hands together, I'm looking forward to it, not really. We'll see what happens, but I'm not really like, stoked. Dune, yeah, Dune Part 2.
Dune?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing that. That's about it. We'll see them as they come out, and obviously some will be good, some won't be good, but nothing that's what I mean by give me something original and unique and something that spurs my interest in that manner. And it's like, wow, I don't know what this is, but it sounds amazing and I'm looking forward to it. Everything that's on that list, I've seen a version of that already, and it's kind of hard to get super excited about something like that. But if you give me brand new content, original, and you show me a cool trailer, okay, let's look at this. I'm excited now. Now I'm invested. And I wish Hollywood would go back to being creative and giving us original IPs, brand new content, stuff that we haven't seen before, take us places we haven't gone before, and a lot of times when they do that, it works, so we'll see what happens.
What about you, Sundowners? What do you think?
So
The
Superman
movie,
Legacy,
Superman.
Superman,
Yeah, number one.
The Highlander, which is going to be a different take about, it's going to combine elements of the TV series with Duncan MacLeod, and then so Henry Cavill playing. But it's got a shot to be in 2025 if they get to filming early enough in 2024. But Dune 2, obviously, I'm a sucker for dragons. So How to Train Your Dragon, if they I want to see who the writers are. I want to see the casting. I'm not in on How to Train Your Dragon live action until I see what comes out in terms of who's making it. I do know there's a major investment into How to Train Your Dragon because Universal is building a huge part of their expansion in
Epic
Orlando,
Universe. Yeah.
around an epic universe around How to Train Your Dragon. So I'm cautiously optimistic, that's one that what's going to be the tone, right? Is it going to be, you're going to go for the kids element? How are you going to incorporate the dragons into the film? Other than that, it's just it's a lot of nothing. I think what, we mentioned earlier, what happened to the movies where there's a smaller budget and they just came out with something new, like,
Yeah.
Well, and the creator was an example of that. Although I know it didn't hit for everybody, but recently, Gareth Edwards, the creator, was a smaller budget sci-fi pseudo original story. I mean, he admits he stole things from his favorite movies, thematically and from a story wise. But again, I enjoyed watching something that was brand new. Right. That was I no preconceived notions. I didn't have to know anything. I just, goodness sake, just went in and watched a movie. God, could you imagine? Right. Without having any of that baggage. So I'm with you all. I'm on the AMC's their A-list program where you pay $23 a month and you can see up to 3 movies a week, which I don't ever do. But you see a couple of movies a month and it pays for itself given how expensive movies are. So I have the luxury of going almost every Friday to see something. But yeah, I was just as Derek was talking about it, and I was looking through the list. I'm like, well, there are an awful lot of redos, or build-upons, however you want to put it. And there isn't, a whole lot of, brand new content. So
where's the next Matrix? Where's the next Matrix where it's original and you
Right.
walked in there thinking, like, where did this come from? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
like, where is the next Matrix? Like,
People
and if
are
they're gonna
afraid.
do
They're afraid to take the risk. It's so and
Yeah.
it's so weird because the studios have shown they'll give the money, but they'll only give the money to the established properties.
Yeah.
So we get this 200, 300 million, these bloaty movies from the, you know, that they should be sure things that aren't hitting, and the other folks that want to come along and the studios don't want to take a flyer on that. It's just
Yeah.
backwards. It's just
And if they're gonna
so
do a
backwards.
reboot, like to me, I don't know, maybe I'm off, but because I loved it when I was a kid. Is why don't they? If they're gonna remake something, they're remaking the wrong stuff, like a reboot of Dukes of Hazzard. Who cares? If you're gonna reboot something, I want to see a reboot of Flash Gordon.
So
I want to see
Yeah.
a director come in and
Right.
and I know people are gonna say, well, isn't Star-Lord kind of sort of like a modern Flash Gordon? Not really. Like, I want to see Ming the Merciless. I want to see Baron. I want to
Yeah.
see, you know, like, I want to see that universe again. And I would even put the Queen music to it. You don't even need
Well,
to change the music.
and speaking of rebooting things, I saw they're making a Terminator anime series. Netflix is making a Terminator anime series coming out next year. And I sent it to someone. I was like, is
They
this
make-
for real? And they're like, oh, I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm like, one of the things I never thought I was going to possibly see is a Terminator anime series, and it's coming out. It's going to be
And
8 or
again,
10
I don't have a
episodes
problem
coming
with
out.
that. I think it's fun to have anime series or, you know, continuations or, you know, different stories based on old existing IP. I think that's fine. But give us something new. Like you said, like Sundowner said, where's the next Matrix coming from?
Yeah.
Who is out there trying to make the next Matrix? Or is everybody just, hey, I'm just going to jump into this IP that everybody loves, that everybody already knows, and then I'll just make content there, and that's it. I think that's where a lot of the creative minds are. It's like, okay, let's go over to some of these IPs that people are already familiar with. And, you know, instead of just saying, well, I'm going to strike out there on my own, and I'm just going to make this. And if I have to make it for a lesser budget, I'm not going to get the, you know, $200 million or 100 million. Maybe you have to make it for 50 million. You have to rewrite the script a little bit so you can fit a $50 million idea into it. And then that's what you do. But, you know, I think we just need more original content right now.
And right now, the only ones that I'm with you, the only ones that seem to really be capitalizing on the lower budget smash hits is the horror genre.
Absolutely.
Horror has proven that you can take $35 to $40 million or even sometimes less and put out a product that people really enjoy.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
As
$20
much as it
million
didn't appeal to me, and they put it on Peacock too, for goodness
Yeah.
sakes. Right.
Yeah.
As much as it didn't appeal to me, it's doing really, really well.
Hey, Risman, let me share something real quick. I'm
Yeah,
going to share
put it.
something. Now look at this. This is the
Hold on, let me do this.
all right. So
let me do this.
this was the worldwide box office.
And
This
I'll
is
be
1984.
you talk, I'll be right back, okay?
All right, go ahead. So look at this. This is the worldwide box office, the biggest films from 1984. How many sequels do you see on this list? How many sequels do you got here? You know, just looking at the top 10, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom was a sequel. And Star Trek 3 obviously was a sequel. And that's it. 2.
Yeah.
You had 2 of the top 10 films in 1984 were sequels. Everything else was brand new. Beverly Hills Cop, Ghostbusters, Gremlins, Karate Kid, Police Academy, Footloose, Romance in the Stone, Splash. Just the top 10. Okay. Now let's switch this up. I'm going to switch this to 2022, last year. And let's see what that list looks like. How many of these are sequels or remakes or reboots? Okay. Avatar sequel, Top Gun sequel, Jurassic World sequel, Doctor Strange sequel, Minions sequel, The Batman reboot, Thor Love and Thunder sequel, Watergate Bridge. Oh, that's a foreign film. Not familiar with that. And then Puss in Boots sequel. Everything's a sequel. Everything's a reboot. The biggest films. And this is why Hollywood refuses to go into more original content. Because everything, if we go back in the day, 1984, You can see everybody was really creative. You know, this is the lack of creativity in Hollywood. We were creating back in. Hollywood was trying to make new content. And yeah, there were some sequels. There were some sequels sprinkled in there. But mostly people were, hey, you know what? I want to see something different. I want something new, you know? And look, even going down, Purple Rain and Amadeus and the
Oh,
Neck,
Amadeus.
you know?
Wow.
Yeah, you know? Not Revenge of the Nerds. Not a lot of, you know, this was the time when they were thinking outside of the box. Right now, everything is inside the box. That's it. That's all they can stay inside the box, and they don't want to go outside that.
DA, like, look at that. Look at just take the top 20, top 21, because I can see down to the Terminator.
Okay.
Now, those movies, when they left the theater and came to home video and the beginning of the cable, you know, watching movies at nights when HBO came on at 7 and going to rent movies. If you were a kid growing up in this time, I saw every one of these movies, and all my friends saw all of them. It didn't matter where you came from, you pretty much saw just about every one of these movies.
Police Academy. God, I haven't thought about Police Academy, and it's so funny.
Right.
Yeah.
Can't do Police Academy these days, right? But in those days, it was really, really funny, really good.
No, these were. I mean, this had everything. Look at the genres on here. I mean, it had everything that you
think
wanted.
About this. Some of these spawned, you know, like Police Academy. They made like what, 6 of them? You know, some of these films spawned.
Every one of them were funny. Well, maybe not everyone. Most all of them were funny. Most all of them.
Right.
Really...
There's been multiple Karate Kids. Like, this is where a lot of those films were born back, but they started in the mid 80s with just people making original creative ideas where Hollywood was actually being creative. You know, again, Beverly Hills Cop. There's been a bunch of those. Obviously, Ghostbusters, Karate Kid, Police Academy. They, you know, on and on and on. You had original creative ideas from Hollywood, and now it's just a thing of the past, you know, and it continues on. If you go to, let's just go up one more year in 85.
By the way, just because I saw Star Trek 3 on there, I have to share because I'm so excited.
Okay, go ahead.
One of my downtown here in Jacksonville, we have this historic theater called the Florida Theater, where I see a lot of my old, I call them my sit down concerts, right? A lot of the 70s and 80s, you know, artists will come through and they'll do music. But tomorrow they're doing a screening of Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan, and William Shatner is there to speak after the movie.
Nice.
And so it's officially the most expensive movie ticket I've ever purchased, but I am so over the moon to see William Shatner in person tomorrow speaking.
Nice.
After Star Trek 2. So talk about, you know, a throwback to the
He's almost 90. Is he like 90?
Yeah, he is.
There, man.
That's crazy.
Talk about a national treasure. So.
But I was going through again with the 1985 films, and I'll just wrap it up again. Back to the Future. Okay, Rambo, that was a sequel. Rocky IV was a sequel. But again, Color Purple, which is an adaptation. Cocoon, Jewel of the Nile, that was a sequel. Witness, Goonies, Spies Like Us. Again, these are all original films, and these were the top films worldwide box office. Okay, the biggest films worldwide. And you see, you know, Police Academy got into the sequel game. Fletch, A View to the Kill, obviously was a sequel. European Vacation was a sequel. But again, a lot of original content, and some that have just been classics, like Back to the Future obviously was a classic. The Goonies, classic films that were coming out of
Africa. Talk about another classic. Gosh,
right. At a time where Hollywood wanted to create. Hollywood wanted to do new things. And now we're talking about a Hollywood that is just trapped by, well, we got to make money for the box office, and we're afraid to take risks. We don't want to risk spending a lot of money, but they're risking $270 million on the Marvels only to watch it go belly up. I mean, they could have made, you know, 10 films for $20 million each and probably recouped all of that money, you know? So anyway, I just wanted to share that. I thought that was
that's great.
You know,
great
something
stuff.
interesting to, you know, just consider when you're talking about Hollywood and where it's at right now.
Yeah, totally with you. All right. Few more topics. Bringing it home. Do a little Star Wars. We always have to do a little Star Wars. And so, again, this comes from the same Entertainment Tonight interview where she was just trying to ask him everything she could ask him in 4 minutes or less. But she asked very specific. This comes from our friends at Bestman Bulletin, just re-reporting, basically asking, what about your Star Wars project? And this was interesting that she said, well, what about a Star Wars movie? And his response was something like, any Star Wars movie? And she's like, no, the Star Wars movie that you were supposed to be working. I thought it was a really weird thing that he said. He's like, any Star Wars movie? And she's like, no, the Star Wars movie that you were supposed to be working on, is that still happening? And he said, no, I'm not working on this. I'm not working on my own Star Wars movie, is kind of basically what he said. And this is a la Kathleen Kennedy, our favorite person, who also said, well, it's hard for, I was never really confirmed, so I don't need to say it. She said something very flippant, I thought, at Celebration when she was interviewed and asked about Kevin Feige and his Star Wars movie. And so he's saying, no, it's not happening. I know, again, my time to shine. Hello. Talking about them earlier. They tweeted, one of the things they said was after Secret Wars, he's going to take over Star Wars, right? So the question I have for you all is, number one, do you ever think he really had a Star Wars movie? It's question number one. And question number two, do you think he'd ever leave Marvel to take over Star Wars? Or do you think maybe the better question is, do you think they would ever somehow merge the leadership between Star Wars and Marvel under Kevin Feige? Because I personally don't think he would ever leave, but I could see them consolidating franchises, because it seems to be something that Iger is sort of saying over and over and over again when it comes to the tentpole franchises. But what do you all think? What do you all think about Feige, his comments in Star Wars?
I actually did a video about this this particular topic, and I don't think he ever had a Star Wars. Well, no, let me back up. I do think he had discussions about possibly jumping into the ring and maybe discussing a Star Wars project. I think Kevin Feige absolutely probably had a discussion with somebody about that. Do I think anything came of it? Like he had a script writer and he had a firm idea of what he was going to do? No, I don't think that. And I don't think, honestly, where Marvel is at right now, that Kevin Feige needs to be moonlighting or doing anything over there with Lucasfilm. He needs to be 100% focused on his job, and that's fixing Marvel and getting Marvel where Marvel needs to be. So, yeah, I don't think that he, there's probably some conversations say, hey, I would like to do a Star Wars movie. And he's, kind of bringing it up and talking about it to a few people. But in terms of him actually, having like, okay, I got an idea, I got a writer over here, and this writer is going to be a part of it. I think that's what it is. That's just my opinion. But no, Kevin Feige, as far as, taking over for Lucasfilm, I don't think anybody wants to take over at Lucasfilm, to be very honest with you. I don't know who would want the job. If you're just, like if you're a hardcore Star Wars fan, sure. But Kevin Feige doesn't come off to me like that. He just seems like a guy, a good producer, whatever, he's had some success. I don't think he's like, oh man, I'm just a geek, a Star Wars guy. I love Star Wars to death, and I just can't wait to take over Lucasfilm and turn it around and make it. I don't think Kevin Feige is that guy. I think he's, again, he needs to fix, Marvel. That's what he needs to focus on. And I think that's where Disney wants him. I think Disney wants him working on Marvel. And I think they're going to ultimately elevate somebody within Lucasfilm to take over for Kathleen Kennedy once Kathleen Kennedy is done, whenever that is. I did it. Like I said, I did a video on that. You guys can watch my channel, check my channel out regarding that particular video. But yeah, and then I go into what I think Lucasfilm should do in terms of creativity and what's behind the scenes, who should be working on Star Wars and who should be working on other elements of Disney or of Lucasfilm, because I think Star Wars should be on one side, separate Star Wars creativity from Lucasfilm creativity. So we got Star Wars over here, and then the rest of Lucasfilm on a different, wavelength. And then everybody's working together, because Indiana Jones and, Willow, if you're going to do something more with Willow, you don't want the one creative head covering that. Let the Star Wars guys do Star Wars, and then let another faction of Lucasfilm handle all of that stuff. So that's just my opinion. But yeah, I don't think Kevin Feige has anything he never wanted to.
Oh,
You
I'm,
know,
I'm with you. What do you think, Sundowners? Kevin Feige, you buying or selling? What's your
Well,
opinion?
I watched the video and he was pretty clear. He said, no,
no.
like
Yeah.
you know when they're dancing around something, and you know when they're pretty straight, and that was an easy one for him. But I think I think it all started with a comment by Kathy Kennedy a few years ago, right? And then we
Yeah.
heard. So I think she was throwing. She tends to throw stuff out there, you know, and I see it as that maybe they were in a meeting and said, "Hey, you know, would you like to do something with Star Wars?" He'd say, "Sure." You know, I think when Kathy Kennedy leaves, I think they're going to roll up Lucasfilm under Jimmy Pitaro, someone like that.
They're going to consolidate. Whatever they're going to do,
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see another president of. I
Yeah,
personally don't think we're going to see another
that's what
president.
I think is going to happen. It's going to be like, hey, here are the people who are hired to do it, and it goes up through leadership, through the Disney CEO, whoever that ends up being when Iger steps down. But so I think it was just Kathy. Someone was in a room and said, "What do you think?" And Feige was like, you know, oh, that'd be interesting. And so then she said something, and then it never turned into anything. I don't think. I think it's much to do about nothing. Always was.
Yeah. No, I'm with you all on this point as well. I think Feige probably said, you know, I've got a Star Wars idea, and maybe he and Kathy had a conversation about it, and she's like, oh, that's cute, you know, and I, kind of pat him on the head, kind of a thing. Don't call us, we'll call you, you know, thinking at the
Right.
time she didn't really need him. And on y'all's point, he's got more than his hands full in now again, and
Yeah.
sort of refocusing on whatever is going on with the you know, it's so frustrating because what the MCU did so well for so long was tell self-contained stories, and then they gradually sort of branched out and had them interconnect a bit, and it still felt authentic, right? It felt organic and authentic, and now it's just become this. It's just become this monster of complexity in regards to the storytelling, and it almost feels like nobody holds the wheel. He's not asleep at the wheel. It's just sort of built its own negative momentum. So again, I'm with you guys. I think he has his hands full, sort of regrounding himself and the MCU in what it was when it was great, and trying to get back there. I see a lot of people in the chat, you know, saying everything is beyond help, and I get that. Their track record has been atrocious lately. I don't think we ever get to the point where it's beyond help, but they have to make some hard decisions, and they have to bring in writers' rooms and other things that enable them again to put out content which is story focused, story first focused,
Yep.
and then character driven to support that. It's not a hard recipe. All those things you put on the screen from the 80s, you know, as the foundation of what we feel like is great cinema, they all worked because they were well written. The
Right.
stories were thoughtful, and then they cast actors and actresses who played those parts really, really well.
Yeah.
And that's where I think personally, where I think Feige should be spending his time. So great discussion on that. So a couple other things here. We're closing out for those folks that are still with us. Almost 100 people still with us. Thanks for sticking with us. Really appreciate having you all here. Do the YouTube things if you haven't already. For the late joiners, like, subscribe, share, do all those things, and we really appreciate that. I wanted to show this just because I thought it was cool. Phil Tippett, Regal Robot, you guys might know from we're talking a little bit Star Wars collectible now. Regal Robot does a lot of very authentic and almost prop worthy types of collectibles. And this one talks very specifically about Phil Tippett's work on doing a very high quality 1-to-1 replica here of look how cool this is, of the Rancor. Obviously from Return of the Jedi is where this comes from, and they have a couple of things available. Looks really really beautiful to me. Again, it's a very small edition and all that. But just curiosity, how much do you all think this costs? So again, this is a Rancor statue. Again, it's a beautiful, everything, the art is, everything is beautiful about it. But what do you all think the price tag is on this? And they sell, I will tell you, they sell it in a couple of different varieties. They sell it, they sell it just like you see here in the picture, where it comes with this little signed plaque. And then they're doing another one where I think it comes from a cell from the movie where he signed it or something. But just out of curiosity, because I was shocked when I saw how much it cost. How much do you all think this particular, they're calling it a Marquette, how much do you think it costs? Curious.
I would guess around $750. That's my guess.
$750. What do you think, Sundowners?
Phil Tippett, if his name's on it, I would say higher. I'd say $1,200.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I will say in the chat, what do y'all think before I disclose?
I see
Chat,
1,000.
throw up some numbers. We've got 300, 500. Anton says 800. Siler's got 1,000. Vendor's got a couple of thousand. I will tell you, I was a little surprised. Let me go here to, let me stop this one. And then I actually went to there because they don't disclose in the StarWars.com article. They didn't disclose how much it costs. So Eric says 3,200. Jacob says 1,500. Darth Yang says 700. Let me go here. And so the answer is $1,299 for the one that just
you're right on it, right on the nose,
right on the money, that just contains that little plaque with his signature. And then the one I think that has, here it is, you see it has him in picture in his plaque and all this.
Oh yeah,
$16.99. $16.99 for, again, this is limited to, this one's limited to 100, and the other one is probably also limited to let's say here 150. So I mean, they've made only 200, they've only made 250 of these, and then they're splitting it between 100 and 150. So if that's in your budget, watch for it as of November the 14th. If they had the, what do they call it? The F around money. If I had the F around money, if I just had the money to blow on this, I would be, this to me, just beautiful. And the article, I encourage you all to go to StarWars.com if you want to, and watch and read rather the article between him. Phil Tippett talks about the care and feeding that went into not only the original Rancor, and just the thought process, George saying, we want to have the best version of Godzilla that we can, right? And they're like, oh no, and we have to do it immediately. And Phil was like, oh shit, we have to get moving on this right away. And just the thought process and how they constructed this. And then there's a fellow talking from Regal Robot about what they wanted to do and why they found this important. So you can find that article on StarWars.com. And again, if you got $1,300, they're happy to take it for you. They're happy to take it from you. On a payment plan, you can pay monthly if you want to go that route. Talking about having this beautiful collectible. Hard to believe the 14th of November is next week, but that is true. That is true. All right. So last topic of the evening. And I know Nick and Coach did a video on this, but just wanted to talk a little bit about one of our favorite franchises coming back, the Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel called Frozen Empire.
Frozen Empire.
Have you all seen this teaser?
I have.
Yeah. So we'll play it. We'll close out the show by playing it, and we can talk a little bit and react to it. Let the chat see it if folks haven't. So let me. Oh, this is gonna want me to go to YouTube and do it. No problem. Give me 1 second.
The demonetize will kick in when that video starts playing.
Oh, because of the music, isn't it? That's
right.
Yeah. So maybe we won't play. Maybe we won't play it. So let's just talk. I forgot the song there. Let's just talk about this. So again, you guys can find it on YouTube. For me, the most exciting thing about this trailer, and again, it could be, or this teaser, it could be just because they wanted to get our attention. They bring the original cast back front and center. Or those of them that are still with us, they bring them back front and center. In the teaser, I really had a great time in Afterlife. Again, this is one of those movies that evoked an emotional reaction for me. But again, just like Derek was putting up those other the movies from the 80s, we're probably at an age where obviously it would evoke that kind of a feeling. But what do you all think? Is this something that we're excited for? You think they'll do a good job with this? Did you guys like Ghostbusters Afterlife, and what if anything did you find attractive about this teaser?
I liked the teaser. I thought it was fine. I wasn't a big fan of Afterlife. I thought it was good. But it was, I don't think I've seen it since it came out. I think I saw it once in theaters. Actually, I saw it twice. Take it back. I saw it twice. Once with a friend, once with another friend, and then that was it. I haven't revisited it since. So, it was okay. And, but the teaser looks good. I'll definitely check it out. It's my hype and energy just, oh man, not really. It's going to be a good movie. I'm pretty sure it's going to be fine. I think the original Ghostbusters cast being in it, it's just kind of bittersweet, in a way for me, because I wish they had made more films with the original cast back in the, after Ghostbusters 2. And that's what it always, brings back to mind. It's like, now Harold Ramis, is no longer here. So it's kind of a bummer, but it's a good movie. It was a good movie. I thought that the Afterlife was good, and I thought that the teaser looks good. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully it'll be just as good. But yeah, I mean, I'm not excited. It's not like, oh my god, I can't wait for this to come out. It's not that kind of feeling.
And Sundowners, what about on your side?
Yeah, I took my wife and kids and next door neighbors' kids to see the Afterlife movie, and they enjoyed it. They haven't talked about Ghostbusters since. So I think I don't like Paul Rudd. I just don't like him. I haven't liked him since he showed up on Friends, and I just don't like him. I don't think he's funny. I don't like him.
I liked him in all the murders in our building because they killed him off. That was the best. That's the best part of his appearance. Spoiler alert! They killed him off.
Yeah. So Ghostbusters Afterlife. This is a classic case of you mentioned earlier in the stream about how they paid $400 million for The Exorcist. They paid for the title, and then they do like 20 movies with it. This is one where it's an okay movie. It's not bad in terms of the younger people that are in it. Am I going to go see this one at the theater? No, I'll probably watch it on streaming or when it comes out.
Oh, that hurts my heart. That hurts my heart.
I don't know unless the kids say they want to go. But so I think it'll be okay. The trailer's not bad for what they're trying to accomplish.
Right.
With the way the style of the movie is going to be, but it's just doesn't jump out. It's going to be something I'm not going to remember unless we're on YouTube and they say, Frozen Empire comes out next Friday, and then it's going to depend on, well, what do my kids say? Versus, you put out something that like with Sonic, they wanted to go see Sonic.
So much fun. Both of them.
There's movies where they're like, hey, so and so is coming out. When they say that, then I'll go. But this falls into, it's not really the Ghostbusters that I grew up with.
Yeah.
And it's the young kids, so it's fine, right? For what it is, but I'm not like excited for it.
Well, I know some other folks are reacting negatively to Patton Oswalt because Patton Oswalt was front and center, in the teaser. And, putting aside what you do or don't like about Patton Oswalt as the person, I haven't necessarily disliked him as in the roles he's acted as. So I didn't have a violent reaction to seeing Patton Oswalt there. It was a little bit unexpected. I hope it does good, right? Always, like we talk about here, we hope it doesn't suck, as Nick would, channeling my inner Nick, right? We hope it doesn't suck. We hope it's great. and that they do really, really well with it. So again, that's one that was out there for us to talk about. All right. Well, I think we've reached the end of our time. We've got, the time always flies by. We've been at this for over 2 hours. So let you all shout yourselves out. We'll go in reverse order. We'll start with Sundowners. Let us know what's going on in your channel, what else, where people can find you, what's going on, all that good stuff. Then we'll go to Derek, and then I'll close us out for the stream. So go for it, Sundowners.
Yes. So the Sundowners Club, the Sundowners Club, we cover, we've kind of become known as a Game of Thrones type channel. We do a lot of stuff around Game of Thrones, but we cover sci-fi and fantasy. And so we've got some videos coming out this week. And then I'm going to see Mr. Ray Park, Darth Maul himself.
Oh, cool.
He will be right near me next Saturday. So I'll do a little video, depending upon what they let me show around Ray Park, and so that may be coming out. I'd say give me about a week and a half on that. But yeah, so we cover all things sci-fi and fantasy, and have fun doing it. So check us out. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, always a pleasure to see you, and check out his channel. We'll get you loaded up in Nightbot. I think Spaceship Vampire might be the only mod left, but check out the Sundowners Club. He's doing great things on his channel. Content's very authentic and thoughtful. Always great to see you here. And all right, Derek, they know you, but say it anyway. Tell us what's coming next, what you're excited for on your channel, and what we should be looking forward to there.
Yeah, obviously my channel, Derek Anderson, the DA, got a lot of guys came over from EBN, so I appreciate each and every one of you that has helped me build the channel, subscribing and everything. This week, I'm just going to be dealing with the Marvels, obviously, and the fallout from that film, and just discussing it. Again, I try to discuss things from a writing standpoint and what's wrong with the MCU and what's wrong with all of these various franchises from the standpoint of writing. There's some information about the Acolyte I think just dropped, so I'm checking on that to see if there's anything that I can say regarding the Acolyte, Star Wars, and I think anime is going to start becoming a bigger part of my channel because so much of it is out there and I haven't touched on it like I really want to.
Did you watch the Blue-Eyed Samurai? I watched the Blue-Eyed Samurai. I got totally into the Blue-Eyed Samurai on Netflix and really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
I mean, there's some good anime coming up on Netflix or anime there's the Yu Yu Hakusho. They just dropped a trailer for that. So I'm probably going to be covering that once that drops. I think that comes out in December. So yeah, just, me just talking about Hollywood, talking about, what's coming next and, the problems that Hollywood is having. And, I said it the other day, I try to do creative, constructive criticism when it comes to Hollywood. I don't like to beat them up and just say everything is garbage and woke without actually saying, okay, but here's what they should be doing, And so that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm just going to, just keep discussing the things that I've been discussing, but I'll always, just give you my full honest opinion. Try to do some more movie reviews. I just did a Marvels review out of the theater. I'm gonna try to do some more of those. So that's basically what's up for me, man. But I'm having a blast being on EBN, and I love it. I think I'm supposed to show up on WDW Pro this week, so I believe he's gonna have me on. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yes, and we're so happy to have you as a part of the family. Love having you here, and the chat loves seeing you. And yeah, have a great time when you're over there. Another friend of the channel, WDW Pro for sure. All right, well, I'm going to pop you all out. I'm going to close us down here. Thank you again for coming last minute, Sundowners. And Derek, always great to have you with us.
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. And I could just look at my big head for a second. So thanks to the 85-ish of you all that stuck it out here till the end. Angelina and other folks were asking, where was Nick and Coach? Nick and Coach had engagements, personal, in real life engagements this evening. Nick was going to be here. He got delayed. Coach's wife's birthday was this week. They were out celebrating. So thanks for being with us this evening. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here with you all. It's obviously something I look forward to every Saturday, and I know you all do as well. So as we say here at the channel, you are Echo Base Network. Be watching for all the great content and things that Coach and Nick have lined up for this coming week. And we will see you again here a week from today. Really, really enjoyed it. Thanks again. Peace and love. And we'll see you next time.
Coach Nick from Echo Base Network, thank you so much for being here with us tonight at Echo Base TV, where community